love Michigan sports. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan, Michigan State, and the list goes on. And you love beer. Love beer. Who doesn't? What if we mixed the two together? This is State of My Sports. We'll talk everything Michigan sports, like only we do, and then we'll down our fair share of beer from a local brewery, grading the beer throughout the episode. So pop a cold one on your end, and we'll get busy on ours. This is the State of My Sports.
That's right, this is State of My Sports, and this is episode 141. Today we're going to talk about possibly the best football weekend of all time. Maybe. I don't know. We're going to talk about that. Packers loss. Stafford win. Brady might be done. This is just a lot to talk about, so we're going to do it. We're going to keep the national conversation going with that. With another overtime game. The Kansas City and the Buffalo game went into overtime. Raises all the questions is overtime done right in the NFL?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. So what we're going to do is we're going to all give our best shot at the best format, basically, that we think it should be.
Did you see Sean Payton left too?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Did not see that
15
coming.
years or something crazy like that?
I didn't know he's been there for 15 years. He still looks so young.
He looks the same. He looks
Aaron
the same
Glenn.
the whole
Watch
time.
out for Aaron Glenn, right?
I know.
That's the one I'm a little concerned about now.
Next head coaching odds, Jameis Winston.
We'll talk our Michigan teams and discuss some of the players and prospects that we kind of need to figure out what we're going to do. Do we need to lower our expectations on these guys? Do we need to move on from them? Is there someone that's already jumping them? There's just so many prospects. Zadina, it comes to mind. Okuda, potentially. We're going to go through all the teams, just kind of the Killian Hayes is a big one, too.
Yeah. There's one to go around, I think, on every one of our
I put a lot of Tigers on there, too, so we'll get into those. We're going to have our Betting Hero picks of the week at the end. And, of course, we're going to grade our State of Michigan beer. If you're joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, please let us know in the comments. Be part of the conversation. Let us know your thoughts on it all. We'll read what we can and kind of have a good time with that and tell you guys when you're right or wrong. And you can do the same to us, which is great. If you're listening after the fact, thank you. Share it. 5-star, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to ask to do?
I think it's 5 bells, I think.
Is it 5 bells?
Yeah, you ring 5 bells.
5 bells on the podcast rating.
There you go.
Subscribe as well so you know a new episode's out.
Always hit the subscribe button.
Man,
all these things.
Nailing down all the socials.
Just keep going. Just do it all. The intro's done. How long was that intro? That's just crazy.
14 minutes. We're on schedule.
I'm Sam Waltart. With me today, we got Ryan Waltart, Micah Smith, John Dornbos. Man, that was one of the best football weekends I remember in a long time. Such good football games. The 3 ended in a field goal. 1 ended in the overtime, which is crazy. I'm loving this. I feel like that was the type of weekend that can ruin sports across the board because I don't care to watch anything else right now because it was that good.
I think Vegas is loving it too.
Yeah, probably. They're getting
money.
a lot in there. But before we get into the football talk, I did want to talk about the MLB Hall of Fame ballot came out. So obviously for the people that follow it, the Barry Bonds of the world, the steroid guys, this was kind of their last time on the ballot for
last chance.
Yeah, and then they there's another chance, but it's like down the road or something. I don't understand all the ins and outs of it, but the big question was, are they going to let the steroid guys in for the last year that they can? And they didn't. Nobody got in except for David Ortiz. Now, I don't care about Hall of Fames. I really don't. I don't think I don't care who's in it. I don't care who's not in it. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But when something like this happens and David Ortiz gets in and you're leaving out other steroid guys, and there's guys in the steroid era that are in the Hall of Fame as well that you just assume didn't take steroids. And I feel like that's my biggest problem with it is be consistent. And this doesn't feel like a consistent decision. Now, I've never liked David Ortiz. He's been part of the steroid era. He was kind of at the beginning of it. He tested positive at one point before you could get suspended for it. All of those crazy things. And they talked about how they hope it doesn't taint his his career, basically.
Legacy?
His legacy,
Legacy.
yeah. And sure enough, it didn't. He gets in on his first opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, I don't care if David Ortiz is in. I don't care because he is a good baseball player. He was a DH, which is another weird thing because they've talked about DHs shouldn't get in first ballot, all of these goofy things that the Raiders do.
Yeah.
But then Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens not getting in. Those guys are hands down the best players in our era, in that generation. And it's just stupid to me that they're going to pick and choose based on who they like and dislike to allow in or keep out. And it just bothers the crap out of me. As a baseball guy, how does that make you feel? Like, not necessarily do you think they should all be in or none be in? Like, I don't know. But, like, where are you at with this whole thing?
I don't know. I mean, it feels to me like this is an entire generation, multiple decades we're talking about, of the top players in baseball that are being, I don't know. I don't know if, like,
Blackballed almost,
unfairly, punished is really the right thing. Because do I think that they played the game with integrity and they, did the right thing? No, I don't think so. They were also competing against everybody else doing all of that too.
Yeah. Yep.
So they still stuck out. They stuck out from the crowd before the steroids were introduced to their game, and they clearly, with in the case of Bonds, he went from all-star level, started dropping a little bit to the best hitter of all time.
Yeah.
So obviously steroids had a major part in that. Nobody's hitting 73 home runs right now in baseball.
They're getting kind of close. I mean, it's not like 70s, but they're still hitting the ball pretty hard.
Yeah, where the lead leaguers are hitting 40 and 50 home runs. Like that's the normal process. So that's what should happen.
Do you view yourself as a purist fan? Like some of these writers think they're the most purist of all.
Yeah, I think no, I don't think so. I think I have more of an open mind to things.
Okay.
Like I don't necessarily agree that the National League should never have a DH. I think at some point the league's based on salaries and opportunity and unfair advantage for pitchers in the National League and all that stuff. I think some of that has to be addressed over time, and I think it will, just based on, again, money and contracts. Mm-hmm. And if the American League wants to compete to go get dominant pitchers, then they're going to have to, I don't know, I think the league should be playing on an equal playing field. So I'm not a purist in that way, but like the discussion with the Hall of Fame, it's a hard one because if you go through the Hall of Fame, it's also a lot about history, and it's a lot about like records that fell, and it's not only players that are in the Hall of Fame, it's also moments.
That's a good point.
Right? So I mean, this is also some of the best moments. Like 1998 home run chase had some of the most iconic moments in recent baseball history. And the same goes with, Barry Bonds and just the way he would swing. And I don't know. I think some of that will get lost if these guys don't get in. Roger Clemens dominated for multiple decades. How is he not represented in there?
It's stupid.
He might have extended his career by 7 years even. You take those last 7 years away, he's still a Hall of Famer.
I agree completely. And I don't like that they're picking and choosing because, like, let's throw in, like, who's a player that doesn't look like he would have taken steroids but might have? Because I think we found that
Spencer
a lot of
Torkelson.
I think there's a lot of not strong, big-bodied guys that did take steroids and have been proven to take steroids. And they didn't bulk up the way Barry Bonds did and Mark McGwire did and Roger Clemens did. But that doesn't mean they didn't take steroids.
Well, and those guys were big to begin with. Roger Clemens was a big dude. Always. He was a big athletic pitcher on the mound. But I guess the point is like Frank Thomas. He always had this reputation of being clean. What if he wasn't? He was right in that same era. Yeah. He was as giant of a human being as you could get. So are we just going to believe that that's all natural? Are we going to believe that because Ken Griffey Jr. has the reputation he has, that he never did that and competed with these guys?
Exactly.
I would love to believe that, but the point is we don't know.
Yeah.
So are you going to punish the whole era, or are you going to punish only the people who started breaking records?
Yeah, and I think the comparison between a Barry Bonds and even a David Ortiz, now that David Ortiz is in, this was kind of the one I was waiting for to go in to kind of die on this hill because there's technically more proof that David Ortiz took steroids more than Barry Bonds, other than the eye test. That's the only thing that these guys are going off of, and just the reputation. It's obvious that it happened. I'm not going to question that if it did or not. I didn't care that it did. I don't care that David Ortiz did. But the fact that there's more proof that David Ortiz did than Barry Bonds, but just because these writers think that they're all high and mighty, they're gonna pick and choose which guy. It's just absolutely drives me nuts, and it's flat out stupid, and it's kind of the baseball good old boys club that these writers are. They think that they're more important than they are, which is why like guys don't get in on 100% ballots, even though Ken Griffey Jr. 100% should have been first ballot, 100% vote.
Yep.
But Mariano Rivera is the only one that ever did.
Yeah.
And he was a closer, so
it
it's
doesn't make sense.
It just
You're not going to
doesn't make
convince
sense.
me he's a better baseball player.
But it's just like another thing with baseball that just doesn't make sense, and it's really stupid.
Can't they just put all those guys in a different hallway?
They could just have another hall.
That's exactly what I would want.
There's a hall to the bathroom and a hall to the fame. Or
The
something.
steroid
Just
era.
Steroid, yeah.
You can call it asterisk hall.
Yeah.
I don't care, but these guys got to be in.
Do you
I
think
couldn't call it that because I have a hard time saying that
throw
word.
an asterisk
but
on
everybody
them.
else
Absolutely.
can
Throw an asterisk on by their name. Like, just get them there.
I don't care if their statue is a different representation.
Make them smaller.
Yeah, but then everybody should have it in that era. This was part of this era.
Yeah, well, like, and Rafael Palmeiro
Palmeiro.
is another one. Like, he tested positive one time, just like David Ortiz did.
Yeah.
Or on the same time. But the only difference is David Ortiz then played after that, and Palmeiro's career was basically ended because of that. And we're treating him differently, even though he has over 500 home runs, was consistently a really good player in baseball, was easily going to be a Hall of Fame, and had the reputation of being a clean, good guy. And then he tested positive, and everybody then just threw him under the bus and ran him over.
Yeah, they basically made him the John Gruden of the.
Yeah,
They
identical situation to David Ortiz.
Yeah.
It just happened at different parts of their career.
Yeah, no,
So
I think that-
the inconsistency is ridiculous. We
It's
know
frustrating.
baseball writers have always been dumb
yeah.
and just treated people unfairly, and the whole.
I
Ted
wonder
Williams
if some of
thing.
these guys are already dead and they just didn't take their vote away yet.
I mean,
They just didn't know.
we need to audit their
If these guys, their votes.
the voting roll.
Yeah, we should get a
Voter roll,
a
whatever.
voting audit on this. This is bullcrap.
So do you think the NFL then should have a new hallway
For what? Sorry,
for the
MLB.
17 game seasons?
I mean, the records book should change. They should just cancel that book and open a new record book, right? For the 17 games, and just I mean,
Really?
No, it's part of history. I mean, we'll always know. We'll know Babe Ruth hit 60 home runs in 154 games or 45 games, whatever it was. And then, as they added more games and the records, they broke, and we kind of knew that, the difference between them. I don't think that necessarily has to do with it. But if you're going to keep somebody out of the Hall of Fame because of a specific reason like this, just be consistent with it. And I think that's all we're asking for.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's get into our beers for today. So what we're doing, for the people that haven't been tuning in yet this year, what in the world are you doing, first of all? But we're going to try something new.
Here. They're here.
Let's
You
start
just need to comment more.
Yeah, right. We're going to basically start drinking the same beers from one specific brewery. We're going to try to hit different breweries along the way, but then all grade those specific beers so we can kind of get a mix of what I like, what Ryan likes, what John likes, what Mike likes. Just different perspectives on the same beer. I think that's a good way to keep it honest for our audience. So we're going to try to do that. Today we're drinking Coopersville Brewing Company. We got two different beers here. Micah, you want to introduce which one we're drinking right now?
Yeah, right now we're drinking their hand-squeezed juicy IPA. So they got a very, very short and sweet description. It's a blend of 4 Michigan proprietary hops, the Mackinac, Cooper, Paradigm, and the Bergamot? How would you say that?
Yeah. Bergamo?
Bergamot?
Bergama.
Bergamot.
Yeah, we have no idea.
So, but the ABV, it's a 7.1%. It's basically their flagship IPA, even though it's a juicy. The gentleman that was helping me out with a lot of the tasting today, super, super cool guy. He said this was one of their best sellers. It was either their best seller or their highest rated beer. And I don't know how they were taking their ratings. Maybe they were taking
Untapped or something?
Untapped.
Or State of My Sports Grades or something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and you might get into this a little bit later. Now, the brewers from Coopersville Brewing are from Grand Armory, correct?
Ooh, I didn't
I
ask
think
that
that's
question.
I think that's what the story was when they first were opening, and I think Grand Armory has one of the best IPA, like juicy IPAs with the wheeze in the juice.
Yeah.
That's what this reminds me of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It tastes a lot like it. I'd be curious to do head to head between these two because they're very similar. So far, so good, I would say. Right?
There's like a fraction difference in
or maybe they were able to take the recipe with them. If they created the wheeze in the juice recipe, like,
maybe.
There's a potential.
This is really
for
good,
that.
though.
Yeah. So in Coopersville, they're just past the roundabout as you're about to head west onto the freeway. And right there on the right, they're kind of by the little RV center.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
I think a McDonald's over there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so their staff was super friendly, super helpful, and it looks like they've got a kitchen on one side. They do, I think, a lot of smoked meat, and the guy said the chicken wings were like double rubbed, so they'll double rub them. He said oh man, this is just going
don't rub it 3
south.
times. Then.
Sounding
This
better
is
and
going
better.
south quickly.
I'm already cutting that one out.
Yeah. Jeez.
But then they'll fry them, then
Put that
they'll
in the bank.
bake them or smoke them. He said the chicken wings were awesome, so I can't wait to try that sometime.
Very nice. So what is the other one that we're going to be drinking a little bit later?
Yeah, the second one we're going to be drinking is called their Mootella. So it's a milk stout with hazelnut and chocolate. It's their dark side of the moo base with a hazelnut and cocoa infused flavor. Milk stout with hazelnut and chocolate, and it contains lactose.
So we should be going with the light one first, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, you always go light to dark.
Light to dark. That makes sense. So we do have a comment. I'm gonna read it if that's cool. John, you can play around with it. I don't know if it's working the way that I wanted it to. Remember that I showed you can make the box bigger, but we're trying to get it up onto the stream. But Carrie says, as a gift from Jennifer Hinka, I got Captain Hot Pants Dry Hard Cider from Soul Squeeze Cellars in Traverse. It's a spicy cider brewed with blackberry and got ghost pepper. Ghost pepper.
That was
Holy
a tongue
smokes.
twister there.
Yeah. Can you say that again?
No. I mean, you guys. It
That was pretty good.
probably isn't. I just probably made it sound a lot like a tongue twister.
You got her.
But wow, yeah, Captain Hot Pants, Soul
Captain Hot
Squeezed.
Pants.
Man, I've never heard of Soul Squeeze Cellars. Have you guys ever heard of Soul Squeeze Cellars?
No.
Is that one of the older breweries that changed their name? Or no, I'm trying to
Honestly,
think. I think there was a couple from Traverse City that recently
so is it
changed their
actually
name.
like a brewery or is it a winery?
Oh, I don't know. I guess Cellars, yeah.
I would assume winery. 'Cause
It's
it's
a
Cellars,
winery.
but
Yep, you're probably right about that.
I think
Probably are right.
99% sure. That's how.
We'll do some research and get back to all of you so we didn't
and
waste your
also
time.
The ghost pepper in there, it sounds very interesting.
Yep.
So that'll be cool.
Cool.
Drinking craft beer, having fun, and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
Let's get into these games. There's some great football games. They started on Saturday. I think the first game was like 3 o'clock. I like these 3 o'clock starts and then the 6:30 starts or whatever it was. I like that. I like that a lot. I didn't like the 3 o'clock start on the Sunday, though. I was just sitting around. I felt like
Meh,
I feel
waiting.
like 1 to 3 was awful. That was just such a waiting period. I mean, I played hockey with the kids, so that was fine. But
It was just awful.
it was just awful. It was so bad. No, but the games. Let's go in order. The first one, Bengals beat the Titans 19-16. Look, I mean, we don't need to break down all of these games, but some stuff that are really standing out. I mean, the two teams that had byes lost, which is interesting. First was the Titans.
Number 1 overall seed, AFC, right?
Yeah,
Titans.
yeah. That was the team that's like, who has a bye? Who am I missing? Every time you think of the names of like who was going to play
Yeah,
this
you're like
weekend,
the
it's like
Bills, Kansas
Bill-
City, of course, and then who's the
oh,
other good
Titans.
team?
The Titans had the bye. That's crazy. But I think the biggest thing that stood out with the Titans for me is obviously you got Derrick Henry, the best running back in the league, no question. 28 years old. I don't want to say write this guy off or anything because I feel like what he's doing is very impressive and he seems like he's gonna have a long career.
Just had a plate put in his foot to
Yeah.
repair that, and he's back weeks later. I mean, dude is insane.
No, and I'm not trying to hate on him.
No, I'm
the
just
reason why
saying,
they
yeah,
lost
yeah.
this game, but like
Every good
I
thing
feel like
comes to
this
an end.
window is a lot smaller than we realize with these Titans, especially with the way that they're built. And I'm curious what you guys think about Ryan Tannehill. I don't hate him. I don't love him. I think he's just there. But it
He's
feels like he
serviceable,
kind of
good.
holds them back. Like
I don't. And I think that what you're saying is like what you saw in the difference of the game seemed to be quarterback, right, between the two teams.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure that that's fair because Joe Burrow didn't look great by any means.
No,
but
he
he made the
didn't.
throws when he needed to.
There you
That
go.
was the key.
Yeah, and
Tannehill looked like
I don't think Tannehill's capable of doing that for an offense in the long haul. Like he's not capable of doing that outside of the planned approach or the game plan from the coaches or whatever the play call is. Like he doesn't have that gamer type of ability to make something out of nothing. And I think that or just the electric dynamic quarterback play, that's not him.
yeah.
He has to fall within script. The script has to be right. The game plan has to be right, and everything falls in place. And execution with the best running back in the game, and he can win a lot of games that way. But that to me is like I didn't see Tannehill taking over this game or making plays when they were available. And as many times as Burrow got sacked, how many? 9 times.
9 times.
9 sacks. He still stayed in the pocket and
Yep.
took those hits every single time and wasn't afraid to make the throw when he needed to make it,
Yeah.
even when guys are in his face again and again and again. The dude's a gamer, and I thought that was just a really big difference between the two.
Yeah, I mean, do you think they're at a point that they should move on from him? Now, we don't know the cap scenario. There's probably a big cap hit if you move on from a guy like that. But with that window closing, it's like, man, you can't miss out on this. You can't lose this type of game. It needs to pay off. It feels like they're good at a solid offensive line, a good defensive line. They're kind of built that way. It's just all about a quarterback that can make a throw. That's what we're learning watching these games that we're going to get into is the quarterbacks are the difference in all of these football games. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, and I think what they need to do is go shopping, with their quarterback and around the league, look for disgruntled quarterbacks and look for somebody different or something more than what they have right now. I do. I don't think they're going to go much farther with Tannehill. And I know we're not too far removed from them, being really close to making a Super Bowl either.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, we're always living in that like hindsight's 20/20 and recency bias and all that stuff too, but I think that's about as good as you're going to get.
You're saying Tannehill's about as good as you can get?
No, I think Tannehill what the Titans have done over the last 2 or 3 years is their peak.
He's a free agent in 2024.
Okay, unless they make a move at the most important position in football.
Yeah. They need something different.
Moving on. Unless you guys had anything else to talk about with that.
Oh,
one.
I mean, King Kyle just chimed in
Oh,
on the old
what'd King Kyle have to say?
Restream chat. He said, well, Micah said double rub, I'm in.
Oh, Kyle.
He's still too busy
man.
with work now.
That's what she said.
No, way too late. I thought it was good, but it was just too late. Way too late. I gotta
Kyle's
be better
gonna
at this.
poke fun at you for that
No,
one.
he's actually got his oldest boy Vince now is playing basketball, and they have practice at
On
8.
Tuesdays.
Yeah,
Got it.
so that's
I worked
that's
that around the schedule, but that's
the
okay.
excuse now. Once basketball's done, I don't know what his excuse will be.
So
There's
There's
Kyle's,
always another season.
There's
Kyle's
always
on a
another
full
one.
court press.
But we miss you, Kyle. Thanks for being part of the podcast again.
Come back, Kyle.
In the comments. But yeah, the 49ers beat the Packers at Lambeau 13-10. Jimmy G, 45-18 overall in his career. That might be an old number. I don't know. It was what I could find. But this guy, they basically already moved on from him. But he just wins. Now, he looks awful. He looked absolutely awful on Saturday? Saturday.
Yeah, Carrie's requesting that we don't talk about this game.
Oh, yeah. Let's just skip talking about that one. Sorry, Carrie. Can't do that. I wonder about this guy, Jimmy Garoppolo. Because he seems to be liked by his team. He can make the throws.
Yeah.
He seems like a Jared Goff. Is he a Jared Goff 2.0? Would he be an upgrade from Jared Goff?
Yeah, I think he's like 2 versions ahead of Jared
You
Goff.
think so?
Yep.
Or
I
is
do.
he what Jared Goff was? Because Jared Goff has done that. He kind of had the same winning percentage, right?
Yeah, I still think he's an upgrade. I think he does things a little bit better. I think he has a very similar arm, but he's a little bit more athletically gifted, and I think he's got the balls to throw it downfield.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the balls to do that.
Yeah, sometimes he
just needs
shouldn't.
one football to do it, right?
Yeah,
Is that the balls you guys are talking about?
This really is
Are we
interesting.
talking about deflated footballs?
So Kyle Shanahan is also isn't he an under 500 coach in his career too? I think he has a losing record in his career as a head coach.
Does he really?
Yeah, and so there's a lot of people out there that accuse him of just being a bad coach and having like a one good year type thing.
I don't
So
think he's a
the
bad
dynamic
coach.
between I don't either, and I don't think most people do. But there's that one stat kind of brings in the people, the haters, I guess. But it's an interesting dynamic with Kyle Shanahan being that kind of like coach with a good reputation, but just doesn't win, compared to the quarterback who doesn't really have a very good reputation, but just wins.
Yeah.
And they don't even work together, but they do. So
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about him, but it seems like he's going to be available. And
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
we're
it
not in a
depends.
spot to get a sign another quarterback right now.
it
And-
probably depends on how far he goes.
And then what are they going to do with Trey Lance?
Let him sit.
Yeah, people have moved on from that before.
That's true. It has happened, right?
Yeah,
Speaking
I
of
mean,
it, it's happened.
Yeah,
Go
he's
ahead.
on his rookie contract, so it's not costing them anything. It's just the investment in the future that they're looking at, what they can get for either one of those guys now, and they can probably get more out of Jimmy G getting.
Right.
That's true. It'll be interesting to see how they handle the situation, especially once their season's over on Sunday, hopefully. Aaron Rodgers. So Packers losing. Obviously, I enjoy when the Packers lose. Obviously, I enjoy when Aaron Rodgers loses. I'm not going to hide it. It made me very happy, even though I picked them to win. I enjoy seeing the Packers lose.
You were going to have joy
Micah?
one way or another.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
How are you, man? Are you doing all right? Are you doing all right?
I'm fine.
Yeah. Well,
I'm quite
how'd you
used to
feel?
it at this point.
Are you angry? Are you mad? Like have a feeling and tell us what your feeling is.
Yeah, of course I'm upset. So
Same old Packers.
every single person on that team, for the most part, didn't do their job. The defense looked really, really good. The defense is the only thing that really kept them in it. Rodgers did, but yet didn't play good enough. When you look at the numbers and what the Green Bay special teams were able to accomplish, which was nothing.
Negative.
They did
Yeah,
kick a
it
field
was
goal. They kicked the field goal.
bad. It was so bad. And everyone knew that going in that could be the crutch to the team, and it showed like white on rice. It was so bad. So, unfortunately, the offense and Rodgers could not pull the special teams out of the hole, which is expected. You have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. You expect him to do the unthinkable when it needs to be done. And this was one of those times where the offense and him sputtered and couldn't get it done. And, the glaring need for a change on special teams for Green Bay it's imminent and it needs to change.
Yeah.
It was bad. I mean, that was the only way that San Fran scored and won that game.
I think it was like midway through the third quarter, if not into the fourth quarter, that Devontae Adams was the only wide receiver targeted.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. With Randall Cobb, that was the one that Rodgers wanted back, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he didn't target him till the fourth quarter or something like that. It's
Yep.
just like
that was upsetting. And time after time they'd show replays of they'd show replays of the wideouts down the field, and
Wide open.
the majority of that time, no, they weren't wide open, and the majority of the time they were covered. It was a lot of double coverage on Devontae, which is very, very obvious. There was one read that Rodgers missed bad. He missed Alan Lazard wide open at about the 50,
Yeah, that's what I'm
which
talking
was
about.
Yeah,
that one. This doesn't happen every single time.
No, that was late in the game too.
I think the thing that's standing out to me is you brought up that the Rodgers and the offense didn't bail out the special teams, where that's kind of the opposite. Is the special teams didn't bail out Rodgers. and the bad offensive play.
I don't-
Because
Yeah, you could say that,
if
too.
they make the field goal, if they don't get if they didn't have to punt, those are the special teams are there to bail out a bad offense and a bad defense when they need to. Yeah, they should execute and stuff, but offense doesn't bail out a special teams. A special teams bails out an offense.
You're totally skewing this because of your hatred towards the Packers, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it, but we should not overlook the conditions of the game. It was
the first half. It was
11
fine.
degrees with a sub-zero wind chill. Nobody could play the game. There were drops all over the place. How many drops did
Devontae Adams?
Yeah, did the Packers have for Aaron Rodgers? Some of those throws were easy, simple across the middle.
DeGuara dropped quite a few key passes, which that hurt. Dennis Kelly's false start in the red zone nearly on the goal line, that hurt. That's what pushed Green Bay back, forced them into a field goal, which that was really ugly. That sucked.
I'm just saying, the game, if you look at the offensive execution in the game from the Packers execution versus the 49ers execution, the Packers outplayed the 49ers offensively. The defenses also, I would say the Packers outplayed the 49ers defense. It really did come down to fluke plays on special teams in a game where that would matter, because a lot of times that doesn't matter because people are scoring points, it's warmer,
Correct.
It's not as cold and all that kind of stuff. This is what you get playing in Lambeau. Is that the real issue, is that they're still playing outside, and that every single year they get into the playoffs at this time, if they have home field advantage, it almost might hurt the team.
It always all right, both teams always play in weather, right? They're both playing in the exact same weather, all of that kind of stuff. But it always affects one team way more than the other, in my opinion. People hate when we bring up the rain in the Michigan State game 6 years ago or whatever.
Right.
That limited the better team. It handcuffs them a little bit. Same thing with the Packers here. The weather, although the Packers should be able to play in it because it's their home field, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's still just it seriously handcuffs. It takes a great offense and makes it way more difficult than the defense could ever make it on them.
Especially when you think about how they're built. With the Packers built through the air, it could impact them more than other teams that are built on the ground.
It's not like
But the Packers are built on the ground. That's where they can. They can.
I wouldn't say that.
Green Bay doesn't play in January weather all year long at home. Their
No.
home field advantage is knowing that they're practicing there when they got a bye week.
Right.
They have a little more time to prepare.
Right. And to your point, they have been built through the air for quite some time, but ever since Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon showed up, and even with Jamal Williams there at some point, they've been a much more balanced offensive team the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. But again,
but against that specific defense, that's harder to do as well.
It I mean, you could say the same thing about the Michigan and Ohio State game this year. In the cold, and
helped
the
Michigan.
conditions, I think it helped Michigan.
Yeah.
It took away from Ohio State's ability, the big play ability to move the ball downfield in big spurts, and that played right into Michigan's strength, running the ball right up the gut and just destroying them. I'm not saying that Packers are not built for this. The conditions were there for something fluky to happen, and it did.
It did.
Yeah,
for sure.
and one other thing that hurt too is A.J. Dillon went down with a fractured rib about midway through the game. That really sucked. That hurt what they were trying to do on the
I
ground.
don't even think I knew that.
I didn't know that either.
Because Aaron
I knew
Jones
he was hurt, but
Yep.
But the Rodgers drama, that's going to strike up. I think it started today on the Pat McAfee show. I personally don't watch it, but I heard it's good. But anyway, I mean, it'll be an interesting offseason. It was a very interesting one last year. It sounds like it's not going to be to that extent when it comes to the drama and the he said, she said type stuff and Rodgers calling out the GM. It seems like they're on the same page this time. It seems like they want to make it work still, and if he wants to play, it's going to be in Green Bay. I thought he was going to leave out of spite. Right now it feels like he's either going to play one more year or he's going to retire. That's what it feels like to me.
I think that this way of losing the way they did, I think it's the worst way for Packers fans, and I think you're at your highest risk of losing him right now, just based on that.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah. It's just like the same old thing. Like, how many years can you dominate the regular season and then do that in the playoffs? And that gets old. That takes a lot of energy away from a guy.
All right, moving on. to the Rams, Buccaneers.
Man, what a game.
This is getting a little uncomfortable under this table here. All right, let's start with the Buccaneers.
You haven't convinced anyone.
What a game. Crazy game. So Rams, were they up 27-3 at half?
Yeah.
And then
Blowout.
and it was absolute blowout. And then the Buccaneers came back, tied it up. They Rams shot themselves in the foot. Wasn't Stafford interceptions. It was fumbles.
Yep.
2 by Akers. I think another by a bad snap that went over Stafford's head or something.
Cooper Kupp fumbled.
That one was
Really?
actually the biggest one.
Yeah.
That was
first
insane.
time all year.
Because it was like they got a touchdown, the big touchdown play, right? Got it within 7 with like maybe 3 minutes ago. Don't quote me on the timing and stuff. But then I think it was the very first play from scrimmage, right? After that touchdown, or first or second, Kupp fumbled, and then they got the ball, went down, tied it up.
That was, I think you have it backwards. Kupp fumbled, and then, what's his name, fumbled again.
Akers.
Akers fumbled it a second time.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
but either way,
yeah.
both contributed to them directly getting 14
So the
points in like
Buccaneers
4
came
minutes.
back. So there was also a missed field goal by the Rams in there.
Wait, don't undersell it.
But
Short. 47 yards
47
out,
yards
missed it short.
that doesn't happen. That's insane. Especially
not since 1942.
Yeah, right. Then the Rams went down and made the big play to get the win. Stafford got him in field goal range. Let's start with the Buccaneers side. What Brady's saying, I don't have any of his quotes, but it's starting to sound more and more like this guy's done. Are you guys listening to what kind of stuff he's saying?
Yeah, he wants to spend a lot of time with his family to figure out his next move.
Yeah, and he's always talked about family, but the tone it seems different. I don't know what it is, but it feels like that the way that this whole season went down, Antonio Brown drama, all the injuries and stuff, they're in a tough spot cap wise. They got to make some decisions. It just feels like this could be it.
I got a quote for you here. Tom Brady, quote, "I think as I've gotten older, I think the best part is football is extremely important in my life, and it means a lot to me, and I care a lot about what we're trying to accomplish as a team. And I care a lot about my teammates." Oh, man. "It's not always what I want," Brady added. "It's what we want as a family. And I'm going to spend a lot of time with them and figure out in the near future what's next." So it's not always about what I want. He's made it very clear he wants to play until he's 50.
Yeah.
He wants to do all this stuff. He has the drive to do it, and he probably doesn't want to go out without winning a Super Bowl. He probably wants to end it on a Super Bowl year.
Yeah.
But as you get older, he's getting more and more invested in his family. Kids are getting older.
And Giselle's sitting there like, you just literally threw me under the bus before you made a decision.
Yeah, exactly. And
I want to play. It's just about my wife. Is she going to let me
Well,
play or
she
not?
wants to get
That's
back to
like,
work,
That's like me
probably.
when we were having kids. Like, all right, Sam, you got to no more Sunday hockey for a bit. 5 years later, I was able to get back on the ice.
Yeah.
It's like I blamed it on her. He's blaming it on Giselle.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a legitimate consideration for him.
Yeah, and I like it.
Because she makes more money than he does.
Yeah, he actually brought up Kobe Bryant, too. Like how everybody expects to live this long life after the fact, and when you're done, and then it gets taken from you. And it's like, if I could have one more year before that that random acts of awfulness,
Now you're
basically.
gonna make me cry, man. Come on.
Yeah, this is.
But like it can it can happen quick.
What are you
Basically,
doing?
this kid could really have 34 points.
Yeah, man. He's absolutely
could-
crushing. 8
yeah.
assists, 8
8
rebounds, 4 blocks.
Jeez, good for him. Hopefully they win this game.
Career high in points.
But what do you think? Do you guys think it's gonna happen? What do you think that was Brady's last game? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah?
It feels like it now.
What about you, Mike? Do you
Last
think?
game, period.
Yeah. Do you think that was the last game, or do you think he comes back?
No, he'd come back.
John?
I'm going to say no. I think he's going to play again.
See, I'm on Ryan's side. It feels and sounds different. I think that was his last game, and it was to my boy, Matthew Stafford.
This better be one of the picks. Does
Let's
Brady
go.
come back?
Does Brady come back? Oh, yeah. Then
We
2
can
years,
check in
like
next
at the
year.
end of the year. We'll have their final stats. All right,
I'm sure Vegas has a line out.
Stafford, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Stafford, what he's doing, what he did in this game was so impressive. Yeah, 27 points in the first half, 0 basically in the second half. Not really his fault. It was kind of the play calling and just trying to drain the clock in a lot of ways. Like when you get that lead, it's like just don't blow it. And then they were playing it safe and they kept blowing it. It seems like they didn't really trust him. But
Yeah, I mean, just don't fumble 3 times and miss a field goal. I mean,
that's really the only way that they got this in. Stafford played one of the best games in a long time. I mean, he only had 2 touchdowns, right? But 366 yards. He had the rushing touchdown as well.
Yep.
Is that back-to-back weeks he has a rushing touchdown?
Look
at this guy.
Yeah.
Dual threat. Who would have thought?
Always bet the over rushing yards with Stafford.
Yeah, right. Look, it was awesome. The dude is dialed in. He looks incredible, and I don't want to go overboard on this, but like what we're seeing right here with Stafford is
just an hour into
Stafford.
the episode.
Stafford is.
Are we
really an hour right now?
No, but close.
we will
By
be
the
soon.
time we're done talking about
Right here. I am saying Stafford deserves to be on the same level as Barry Sanders and Kelvin Johnson. It's not the greatest running back of all time and weren't potentially one of the greatest wide receivers, but
feels like that's what you're saying.
On that list of the Detroit Lions let down another franchise talented player.
I thought we already knew that.
No, I mean, a lot of people don't. A lot of people would not admit that he was as good as what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, some people never thought he'd win a playoff game in his career.
Exactly, and they got to drink which Kyle says he calls it a Stafford stiffy. Yeah, this is.
I thought
Gosh,
the table
Kyle.
looked a little raised over there.
Yeah, I don't know if it
Don't
messes
we
with
have
the
like
camera or not. but
Aren't we on like a 45-second delay for stuff like that? I mean,
I sure
this is
hope
gonna be
so.
a 4-hour conversation. I'm gonna be calling my doctor at the end of it. It's been 4 hours. I don't know what to do. No, but Ryan, what do you think about what Stafford's doing? Do you agree that he could be on that considered now, like another player that the Lions organization completely let down?
I mean, and Ndamukong Suh is another one of those like
yeah.
all-time greats kind of for the Lions. But yeah, I mean, it's really those 3. It's Barry, Calvin, and Stafford, and it's the wasted opportunities that the Lions have had with 3 franchise type of guys.
Yeah.
At the same time, right?
Am I missing
What
somebody?
are we missing?
Jason Hansen.
Oh,
I mean,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
One of the greatest kickers of all time, if not the greatest kicker of all time.
Mr. Consistent.
He wouldn't come up short 47 yards.
He's only like this tall. I met him once.
Yes, he probably would have. They were kicking different back then.
Yeah, he was like 51 was long for him for sure.
I think he's got
Yeah.
the record for most 50-yard field goals in a career.
40.
I think
right?
Prater
I think
does.
it's 40s.
Prater's got the record for 50s.
Yeah, Hansen was like money from
He must
40
He must
anywhere
have
in
had
the
it.
40s.
He must have had it.
Yeah,
Hansen
I
had
think
it
he did have it. Yeah,
when he retired.
yeah. Man, he's playing.
missed it.
He's playing on a different level right now, though. Stafford is confident. Obviously, he's feeling good,
Yeah.
and like I actually really appreciated the way they called this game too. The announcers, like early on in the game, they were talking about like you could tell Stafford's feeling it because of this.
Yeah.
He's throwing to the sideline. He's
Oh my
like
gosh.
forcing it in there.
Some of those throws, he had. Those are Mahomes throws.
Those are confident
that people
throws.
would be more uncomfortable with 6 minute on the ESPN than I am right now.
Yeah, but we've seen it. We've seen him do that with the Lions. We never felt like it was the right time to move away from him because
Yes.
they were never going to make it right with him. And so it was the
Yeah.
right thing to do to change the
Look,
culture and start over.
I get this. That was the right move.
But-
and that's not what I'm
But
questioning.
with that said, Stafford in LA where he is right now and with the obvious coaching relationship that he has with McVay as well, I mean they're on another level right now, and I think they're going to go into this matchup against 49ers with a lot of confidence.
I do too.
Those two share a hot tub together for sure.
Oh yeah.
I think isn't that how they figured this thing out?
Yes.
Was in Cabo in a hot tub or something?
Jacuzzi, one of the two.
Yeah.
What's McVay's wife look like?
I have no idea. Oh, you had it.
Oh, she's a
Yeah.
She's
a brunette bombshell.
Oh, really?
But don't.
Yeah, because there's rumors that. So one of the rumors is that was the end of Jared Goff. Was he made a comment about Sean McVay's girlfriend or fiance or wife or whatever it is?
Does anybody know who this girl is?
No, I have no.
Is
I
she
have no
famous
idea.
or no? She's just a.
She's famous for being with Sean McVay, probably.
okay.
I wonder if she's taller than him. Do you think she's taller than
I
him?
think everyone's taller than Sean
I will.
McVay.
I will put a lot on the over on that.
Yeah.
He's a little
He's
dude,
probably
too.
sitting right where he wants to sit.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Sean McVay is probably as tall as your daughter.
He's a short guy. He's short.
I mean, this Rams defense is really unique. They run the most unique defense in all of the NFL, and they do stuff like this. They make really big plays. They make you uncomfortable. They dare you into running the ball, and then they stuff the run. It's like then they dare you to pass, and it's like, oh, oops, we dropped 9. Like, how do you beat them?
They have a Hall of Famer at every level on the defense.
Yeah, they really do.
And the last time that happened was probably Seattle, when their defense won a, NFL
no-fly zone?
Yeah. Like
There's a Legion of Boom, actually.
Oh, yeah, no-fly zone was Sparty, wasn't
Sparty.
it?
Yep. Getting down to the biggest one. I mean, who would have thought, like, after all these close games, that the last one, it was literally like a bad football game to a little bit of better football game to a great football game to one of the best football games I've ever watched.
Yeah, I didn't even watch this game until the second half, and then I was kicking myself, and then I was just like happy I joined it.
Yeah, I mean,
it was basically the cherry and like a pound of sugar on top.
It was absolutely insane. The Chiefs won 42 to the Bills 36 in overtime. And, I mean, just these two quarterbacks alone, in my opinion, Josh Allen just moved ahead of Brady, Rodgers. He's number 2, in my opinion. The way he's played this year, the way that he played this football game, he's not afraid of anything. He's not afraid to run. He's not afraid to throw any ball. Like, this dude is exactly what you want from a quarterback right now. Little less arm talent than Mahomes, but a better runner. Like, these guys could be, and I hate saying this because when people were saying that it was going to be like Mark Sanchez and who knows what, like dueling it out for the next 5 years or
Stafford?
something. Yeah, well, no, Stafford was never part of the conversation.
Oh, okay.
But, like, these two are legit, and it's going to be long-term success for both of these guys. Josh Allen, 27 of 37, 329 yards, 4 touchdowns. Mahomes, 33 of 44, 378 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Just, it was awesome.
Absolute powerhouses.
It was amazing. And, look, the Bills are, I think, the number 1 defense in the league, right? Overall defense?
Overall defense, number 1.
And they just got picked apart by just that offense is that good.
Well, you just watch the way Mahomes just like works his way through the pressure. It's not that they were not getting pressure. He just floats.
Yeah.
He floats through the pressure and everywhere he should go, it's like he has a magnet and he just gets pulled into the direction where nobody is.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So I mean really the biggest stuff happened towards the end. Buffalo, touchdown with 2 minutes left. Kansas City, touchdown. Minute 13 left. Buffalo, touchdown with 17 seconds left to go up 3.
Insane.
Kansas City, field goal. They got a field goal with 17 seconds left from the 25. The Dallas Cowboys couldn't
line up
work
in that.
14 seconds. It was absolutely insane.
Just to run to the line of scrimmage.
Just to line up.
It's just crazy.
No, it's insane. And you know what? I think this should be an everybody's 2-minute drill where defenses stop playing 6 people 20 yards away.
Yeah,
because
Sean McDermott, is that the name of the Buffalo coach?
For defensive coordinator?
I thought he was the head coach.
McDermott? Yeah.
Isn't he the head coach, right?
Coach.
Yeah, finish your thought, sorry.
Well,
But
yeah.
I want to bring him up.
To me, it's just ridiculous that a guy can get a 15-yard head start just running straight down the field with zero pressure or anybody on him at all to make life difficult. How do you not put one guy on each receiver and then have 4 guys deep? Like, you have to play both ways. Play man and then box deep.
With this amount of time left, why aren't they just tackling the guy? Right off the line of scrimmage, just tackle him. Take the 5-yard holding penalty. Inside the 5 seconds or 5 yards,
yeah,
the time would just tick.
Absolutely,
tick,
but the
tick.
last thing you do is let him get a 15-yard head start, then run another 10 yards, full speed. Like, that's hard to tackle a guy like that. 25 yards, timeout. 25 yards, timeout. Move 50 yards on the field in that amount of time.
Absolutely insane.
But they let it happen. It just drives me crazy. Like, why?
It can't be that hard to stop. Like, it's hard to stop.
Tyreek Hill is on another level. He is insane. With his speed and the way he can just be a difference maker. Let's not put this all on Mahomes. Tyreek Hill carved his way through that defense multiple times.
Yeah.
But if you give him 20-yard head, like just nobody in front of you and as fast as you can run, how are you going to tackle the guy right away? He's going to get another 15 yards after that. It doesn't make sense.
Yep. No,
Put somebody on him, throw your hands like they can't run, and then drain 7 seconds off.
Yeah, total yards. I mean, this is just one of the best games, and we're going to get into a comment and then our next topic here very, very shortly. The Chiefs had 552 yards. The Bills, 422 total yards. Passing yards, 370, 313 yards per play, 6.7 for Buffalo, 7.6 for the Chiefs. Like, a elite quarterback is going to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's either going to be Patrick Mahomes or Matthew Stafford. Those are the guys that are going to win the Super Bowl. And that's what it takes. You have to have an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl
What about Joe Burrow?
in this league. He's not going to, but I would consider him elite.
If he wins, he'll be elite.
There's something different about him. It's not a flash in the pan like Jared Goff was, Carson Wentz was, Mark Sanchez was. Like, this guy is the real deal.
It's the championship at LSU and then the cigar celebration afterwards.
Man,
Let's face it.
He's got
Dude's a baller. He comes from nothing.
Yeah.
he's one of the greatest winners of all time, but he looks like a dope when he loses.
I love it. I love the
Like-
I would take him in a heartbeat with the Lions. I love the way he plays.
All right, Carrie, with a great comment
I
here.
also can't wait for Jimmy G to win it.
And this is going to be our transition. Carrie, thank you for setting this on a tee for us. We're going to have a short little bumper like we usually do. I don't know why I explain this. Why do I explain this? Why do I talk like this? I don't know. But Carrie says, I do think it would have been more fun if Buffalo had a chance in overtime. And that is going to take us to our next conversation.
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. This is State of My Sports.
This is the main topic for 141. Before we get into it, I want to remind everyone that the Hops Brewing Company and Cafe is open and pouring some of the best craft beer in West Michigan. Their revamped food menu, rotating taps, wine, and ciders make the hops perfect for whatever you have going on. From late night drinks with friends, dinner with the family, and everything in between. I did the opposite. The Hops is becoming a staple in the West Michigan restaurant community that we highly recommend to our friends and listeners. Taco Tuesday, one of the greatest Tuesday dinners of all time, in my opinion. $2.50 per taco. Get 7 of them, and you won't regret it. Pair it with their margarita seltzer for only $3. Or you can use a State of My Sports promo code. Promo code? Is it a promo code when you tell your waiter State of My Sports thing? I don't know if it's a promo code.
It would be called a saying maybe at that point.
Call it a pro.
Referral code?
Referral
Just let them know you heard
sentence.
about the Hops on State of My Sports, and they'll give you a discount off your first beer
It's a statement.
if the $3 isn't a good enough deal for you, which it is.
Bold statement.
They're the Hops is the official brewery State of My Sports. And if you, I already talked about the discount. I already talked about the discount.
Hey,
Killing
let's just leave it off with something else.
Overtime format. All right.
The Hops, guys, they're awesome. Go check
And
them
Carrie
out.
brought it up, but we're going to talk about it.
We need a
Both
short little
teams
bumper.
should have a chance. Oh, yeah. No, I already did the bumper. Jeez. John, do you like the format? I'm going to talk to you because they're just being mean over here. Did you like the format of the playoffs? Or should both teams get the ball?
I thought you were talking about announcing the bumper before the bumper. That format.
I'm going to hit another bumper.
Yeah,
You seem to love it, so.
That's a beer sound for the people that don't know.
Well done.
John, what do you think?
I understand what the NFL's doing. They're trying to keep less plays from happening in a game. Move on. It's all run by Vegas at the end of the day anyways.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
But you spend all season, you extend the season. We've gone through this COVID thing. I feel like it's only fair to make it a little more fun and more entertaining for us fans that are sitting at home watching the greatest game unfold on Sunday Night Football.
But another thing so the players. You brought up the players and the players' safety. I think that's the biggest argument against having bowl and just keeping it more plays, right? Player safety. Do you think that the Bills care about their safety right now, or do you think they're like, we should have touched that mother effing football?
Exactly. At this point in the season, you know, you've already kind of gone through the bumps and battles and injuries, and every team is kind of playing a little bit handicap at this point, right?
Yeah.
Regular season, get the game over with, get back on your flights, get back to your routine. But this is win and go home, lose
Yeah, and we see that. We see that in other sports. The NHL does it that way, right? They have their structure in the regular season,
And then
they
it's
let them
different in the
play it
playoffs.
out in the playoffs.
Yep.
And that's the way, the most fair way they could do it. Yeah.
So let's talk about it as just a playoff thing, and not necessarily regular season. I think you can have two different rules, right? Obviously, that game wasn't going to end in a tie.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So they have their different rules. But what would you do, John, to make that work?
My original thought was to line up your two special teams, all of your players from each
But that's
team.
not fair to the Packers.
And-
Fight it out.
That's not fair to the Packers.
and you have a fun game of tug of war. Bring it back.
Jeez, oh,
Bring
Pete.
it back. Bring it back. These are practice squad guys and special team guys. Bring them out there. Don't bring your big, overweight offensive linemen out there. I want to see special teams duke it out. I want to see both kickers, punters, placeholders. No, I think in a perfect world, you eliminate field goals in overtime, must-score touchdowns, change of possession. Every team gets a possession. Then after that, it's sudden death. Take the field goals right out of it.
Yeah, I don't hate that. That's actually part of my plan. So
Why the sudden death, though? Because in my mind, that still comes back to who gets the ball first.
that's a good. Yeah, I mean, I guess it was. I missed the sudden death. I don't like the sudden death thing.
I heard another proposal that somebody should, if the team scores a touchdown, then they could end the game if they successfully get a 2-point conversion.
No, that's stupid too.
I think they should have to end the game stopping the other team from scoring a touchdown.
And I don't know if I agree with that because field goals are part of the game. And so that's still a lot of drama to try to kick a 66-yard field goal for the win. There's a lot of drama involved
Or
with
a
that.
47 that might get blocked. I don't know.
There you go. Well, a lot of crazy stuff happens at the end of games with field goals too.
I think tug of war is a pretty easy way to settle things at the end of the game.
I like where your
right?
head's at, but I want you
keep-
to move past that.
You keep a lot of your star players from getting hurt, but then you still have your special teams. And I mean, man,
their hands get ripped to shreds.
for
though.
sure. I don't care. Get the rope
Yeah.
out there, but
Some chains.
I know that you would have to also change like other rules if you're taking the field goal out of overtime and forcing the team to score a touchdown and then to stop the other team from scoring another touchdown.
All right, so
Match
John
point.
wants Squid Game style where one team loses
Yeah,
a tug of
I
war
want
and
it.
And if you
dies.
lose, you die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you
Fall-
can't finish the season.
Yeah.
Fall and you're done,
Let's
and
bring the-
that's drama.
The Roman times back.
That's
yeah.
real drama.
I want to see the losing team drug around by horses.
I want a college format where each team gets the ball at the 25, but it's not the 25 you're thinking of. It's the other side.
25?
So now the pros have to go all the way down the field, and they might. I don't know if I agree with like no time and all that kind of stuff. Like there's some, I don't know, stuff I don't have all the answers for that. But I think both teams deserve to have a chance and match each other, and there's a lot of drama involved with that as well. If one team scores a touchdown and now it's 4th down and 10 and they're going for it and they have to do that 3 times throughout moving the ball down the field, like that'd be fun to watch, you know. Would that drag games on for a really long time? It would, yeah, but we're talking about the playoffs. I don't care. I want to know who the best team is. And you better believe if there's a game in overtime in the playoffs that the ratings are just going to go higher and higher. People are going to be calling their friends, texting, like people are going to join and watch that.
Yeah, I mean, I think both teams should touch the ball. I think it's actually a lot simpler than people are making out to be. Play the game. Play the game the way it was designed. Play the game that they just played 4 quarters of. And just play it out. They don't care. I'm telling you, these guys want to play real football. They don't want gimmicks.
What do you mean? So play one more quarter.
All right, so no, play 2 more halves. Play. All right. So when you win
Another
the
game?
no,
Crazy.
but shorten it. A 10-minute half
2-minute warning.
and a 10-minute half.
A 2-minute warning and a 2-minute warning.
That'd be cool too. Like remember Joe Montana when you could just play 2-minute warnings
Yeah.
or like 2-minute drills,
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
No, but I think all right. So if you win the toss at the beginning of the game, I don't like the second coin toss. I think that's stupid as well.
Tonkas.
I think if you took the ball to take the first to start
Yeah,
the
then
game,
it goes to the other team.
then it goes to the other team in the halftime, right? The next half should go to the team that got the ball at halftime, and then but if this is the whole part of the game, play the 10-minute half, play it like real football rules, real clock rules. Like it's just 10 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. Halftime, play the second 10 minutes.
Commercials.
Boom. right there. I'm telling you, they'll love it. They'll get paid even more.
Yeah, I think you're onto something.
Or they can adopt the no commercial break like the NHL does in overtime.
Here is my idea. It kind of falls in between yours and yours. One more quarter. One more 15-minute quarter. That solves a lot. Both teams will get possession. There's bound to be a turnover or turnovers.
Okay, so where does that end? What if it ends in another tie? When does it
Play
end?
another quarter.
That's
quarter.
And I get that everybody brings up the player safety. Player safety is so important. Look, these guys play. So at the end of a football game,
it's not a baseball game.
At the end of a football game, though, they play 12 minutes, roughly, maybe 13 minutes of actual playing snap to tackle.
No.
Maybe. And that's total. Split that in half, offense, defense. That's 6.5 minutes. They can't play another 6.5 minutes of football? It's not that difficult. Play the game.
Oh, come on. People get injured all the time.
Yeah, they get injured all the time. They get injured the next game.
Yeah.
Or the game before.
Yeah, and the more you play, the more opportunity to get injured.
Yeah, but
now,
what do I care?
How does the NHL do it in the regular season? How does the NHL do
All right,
it in the
NHL
playoffs?
does it perfectly. So 3-on-3 hockey. Get the game over with. If
In
you
the
can't,
regular
you do
season?
a shootout. I'd be okay with getting away with the shootout. Yeah.
Okay.
But then
in playoffs,
they play
What is it?
20-minute periods over and over and over and over again. There's been games in the playoffs that go to 6 freaking overtimes. They don't complain about player safety.
Yeah, because they're safe.
No, they're. Oh my!
Hockey's a safe game.
Yeah, okay, Ryan. You can't even say that with a straight face.
Okay.
Yeah, Claude Lemieux's the only one that's ever had CTE issues, you know?
Marty McSorley, man.
So what I was getting at, you could alter your regular season overtime to your playoff overtime in the NFL, or just keep it the same. You could just do, one 15-minute quarter for overtime, and if they tie, then you do another 15-minute quarter as far as the playoffs go, and then you can maybe make up something different for the regular season or keep that the same format.
I don't hate that. I look at it as 2 halves, though, to make it fair. Because one team gets the ball the first half, one team gets the ball the second half.
What if instead
it changes everything? Like
what if instead of a coin toss, you do a 100-meter dash or 100-yard dash?
I just hate the coin toss, first of all. That's another thing that I don't like.
Yeah. No, I think all of these ideas are better than what they do. And that's the problem. Because
the bottom
you cannot
line is
have
both teams should touch the ball.
Exactly. You cannot have a situation where the Bills do not get the ball back after what they just did and what they just accomplished. Yeah. They did not deserve to lose that game, except that their defense freaking lined up 30 yards away and let them run down the field in 17 seconds in 2 plays.
And why'd they kick the ball through the end zone? Squib that. Why didn't you kick that?
Well, these days you can call a fair catch.
No, you
anywhere.
Can't. No, you can't.
Yeah, you
That's
can.
college. That's college. You cannot call a fair catch outside of the end zone on a kickoff in the NFL. It's only college.
I thought you could. Okay.
It's only college. But do a squib kick.
Yeah, they should have.
They should have
absolutely
done that.
Force them to use some time.
Force them to use time. Force them to do something. You might have had an idiot throw the ball backwards. You never know.
So, I get that, but at the same time, also, maybe it's easier for me to say it because I'm not a fan of the Bills, but don't they have the #1 defense?
Yeah, I mean, okay.
I'm not trying to.
No, I get it. Yeah,
I think they just proved that offense is easier than defense, though. Like in this type of a game, offense was dominating the whole game.
Yeah.
You could not stop Patrick Mahomes in this type of a game. Tyreek Hill was just weaving his way through players.
Yeah.
And the stats don't lie either, because I heard earlier on ESPN today that in the postseason, what was it, the 11 overtimes that they had, the coin toss decided at 10 out of 11. And I
That's just stupid.
I get that, and it does suck. The stats don't lie. So for whatever reason, in the postseason, in overtime, the offense or whoever wins that coin toss has won the game 10 times out of 11.
Yeah.
It needs to be fixed. But in this particular circumstance, it kind of seems like when you have the #1 defense, why did you just let that happen to your team?
I don't know. I don't like that argument because what if
they didn't have the #1 defense?
They didn't?
No, what if they
Or you-
didn't?
or-
What if they
but-
were the 30th ranked
No,
defense, but
But
they were
what
really
if
good
you
offense?
had the number one offense against the worst defense?
It doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter.
You
like
still
yeah, you
finish
can
the
you
game
can
in
always
as-
say
as
they should
fair
have
way
made
as you
the
can.
plays. They should have done this. They should have done that. The bottom line is they didn't get a fair opportunity in overtime, and that's the crappy situation. And the NFL, I don't know why they haven't fixed this yet. It makes no sense to me.
NHL
and
or
I'm
NFL?
so did I say NHL? Sorry,
thought so. I don't know.
NFL needs to fix this. Period. Bottom line.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts, and they better fix this before it screws over the Lions next year in the playoffs.
And-
And it wasn't it Kansas City argued for a change in
They certainly did.
They did.
playoff
Was that
overtime
like
scenarios.
3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, when they lost to the Patriots,
Yeah.
So like it's a rule that has benefited guys like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning who have these kickers that are freaking automatic.
Yeah.
You get to overtime, you win. Just got to win that coin toss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and now it benefited them this time, and it's just not
But-
fair.
But that
Fix
doesn't make it right, in
No,
my opinion.
fix
Like,
it. No, not at
people
all.
are using water finds its level, it'll pay off in the end. No, it's not fair. Period. Just because it might be fair 6 years down the road doesn't make it fair. It makes
know-
it unfair for both teams.
Yeah,
when they lost.
we know that momentum does not carry over from year to year. That's not how it works in football.
Now, what if Kansas City had kicked a field goal? The game's not over, right?
Correct.
Okay. So there
The
is
Bills would get a chance to get
so
the
there
ball.
is that
Yeah.
little qualm that they
Yeah.
have. Okay.
I don't know.
Just fix it.
Did we fix anything?
Just fix it.
No,
We didn't fix anything?
no, we just talked about the most obvious thing in the whole world, and everybody can see it along with us.
I think I fixed it.
I thought
2 10-minute halves.
did
Tug-
we
Real
have
football.
Tug of war?
did we have Goodell on
It
the
was the
line?
tug of war.
Yeah, Roger.
Roger?
Let's hear him.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
also in his basement.
Yeah, right? All right. Let's move on.
Do a bumper.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
All right.
Moving
gotta-
on.
It's gonna be softer with the fingers when you're doing those bumpers.
Was that too loud? The finger?
No, I'm just saying, like, if you want to do it right, you just
I just need to pick one.
Use some
I
touch.
overthink it all.
just gentle, just touch.
Gentle touch.
Yep.
Did I hit it pretty hard? I almost knocked
No,
it
you
out.
just weren't touching it. I don't think.
I didn't touch it at all. All right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get into our Michigan. I have no idea what you're talking about. I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna move on.
It just took like 10 seconds for that bumper, but that's fine.
All right.
Listener Carey is not concerned with player safety either, by the way.
Thank you, Carrie. That makes sense. Why do we care
Hey, come on.
about
let's
player
move on.
safety?
You just did the bumper.
Let's reset.
All right.
I'm gonna use the same one. No, all right.
You
So,
didn't carry.
so what we want to do now is we want to talk about some players, prospects, some players in the state of Michigan. You got some on every team, and I think that we need the organization needs to make a decision on. Here as fans, we need to make a decision on. Do we need to lower our expectations? Do we need to move on and give up and say that they were bust or whatever it was, and we'll just break these down a little.
Yeah. And maybe some of these we can jump through quickly, and some of
so
them.
let's start with some Tigers.
Yeah, I love that.
If you're cool with that. So I have a few names on here. I have quite a bit of names on the list. But I'm not sure all of them need to be brought up necessarily, because the way I want to look at the Tigers is we're still in somewhat of a rebuild mode, because these guys that aren't necessarily good or panning out the way that we wanted, they're not holding anybody back. So it's not that big of a concern yet. But when you want to see the Riley Greens, the Spencer Torkelsons, the other prospects, Dylan Dinglers, like, you want to see these prospects coming up, these are the type of guys that are in their way, and we got to make a decision on them, right? A few that just came to mind. Let's start with the infield, if that's cool. I want to bring a couple names. We can talk about him if you think it's worth it. Harold Castro, I know, is a infield, outfield type guy. Isaac Paredes, just a infielder, but there's kind of a logjam now. Willie Castro. Those are the first three names that I wanted to bring up here. And look, again, they're not in the way. We're not overpaying these guys. It's nothing crazy, but it's decision time, I feel like. And I think if it's not this offseason, it's going to be mid-season and trying to figure out what we're going to do. So Harold Castro, he is our arbitration eligible in 2023, free agent in 2026. Willie Castro, 2023, 2026. So same exact thing here.
Yep.
I know you really like the Castros, Ryan, but are these guys? What do we do with these guys?
Yeah.
Do we need to lower our expectations that they're not everyday guys, or what are you thinking?
Willie Castro could be an everyday guy. He still has that upside. I'm not giving up on him at this point, but they have always been the duo in my mind that's like one of these guys steps up, and if you get anything out of him, it's gold from nothing. Like Willie Castro came from a trade several years ago at this point, and it didn't really cost us a whole lot. We got something back, and I've always wanted it to work out. I agree, though. This is a really critical year for these guys. What we need to do, where the Tigers are right now, with all the guys that we're going to be bringing up, we have this year to see what happens and see how this plays out. We don't need to make a decision now. We need to make a decision this year. And so, yes, there will be a logjam. We're going to get Spencer Torkelson up this year. Isaac Paredes, absolutely a guy that we need to hold on to and see what he turns into, because I think he's got a lot of potential with his bat, and he also gets on base, which is different than the Castros. But between the two Castro guys, yes, one of them needs to step up and say that they're going to be at least a role player on this team, a depth guy that can be in the middle if they have an injury, or throw him out in left field if we need support there.
Yeah.
But
the other guy,
it never hurts to have a good player that floats around, a Don Kelly without Don Kelly, like a better Don Kelly.
Yeah, but the other guy, we need to be okay with cutting, or pushing away, or Rule 5 type stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's any value out of any of these guys, mid-season when we do make these decisions, then we try to get whatever we can back from them. But Harold Castro's a career 315 on base guy. He hit 283 last year, career 291 hitter. He's a pretty good hitter. Like, he hits the ball on a consistent basis, doesn't strike out. He doesn't get on base. And he has got in his career, 8 home runs, 3 last year. This is not a difference maker. He's not going to bring the Tigers to the postseason. This is not the guy we're excited about making a really massive impact. Torkelson is that guy.
Yep.
So when he comes up...
And when these guys are holding back a Torkelson, that's when I'm going to be angry.
Oh,
that's when I'm going to be mad.
They'll never hold back a Torkelson. It's more like, are they going to hold back a Paredes, a guy that really could turn into a legitimate option for the team long term? I don't want to hold him back in the name of the Castros.
He's the bigger question mark. I think Paredes is the bigger question mark. Is can his upside be what it potentially could have been, right? When we originally took him, like, he was in there. He was a big time prospect, not necessarily top 100. Or he did make the top 100.
He was in the top 100, yeah.
But like, we kind of know what the Harold Castro, Willie Castro highest upside. They're not going to be stars. Isaac Paredes, whatever you want to say, he still has that upside.
Yeah, absolutely, he does.
In question of, like, every day, can it click? And when it clicks, what in the world can this guy do?
Yeah, what does that look like?
Because
clicking?
He's got the look. He's got the feel. You talk about a lot, like, him in the batter's box. It looks different. It feels different, and it's a threat. Is every time he comes in. The league just doesn't know it yet in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
he doesn't know it yet.
And his on-base percentage is the same as Harold Castro, and he's hitting career 215 last year, 208 compared to Harold Castro's about 290. So just imagine Paredes hitting 290. His on-base percentage is going to be 370, 380. That's a really good player that makes a big difference in your lineup. So a lot of Paredes, his future with the team depends on where Torkelson ends up playing. Torkelson's had time at third base, which is where he kind of ended up in Double-A and Triple-A.
Yeah.
But he also played almost exclusively first base for West Michigan Whitecaps and before that. So the jury's still up for where he's going to end up playing. Also, we're in the American League. We have a designated hitter, a DH. Paredes is an obvious guy that is not dominant defensively. He's okay defensively. If he ends up being a career DH, I'm fine with that as long as he gets on base. And so he can develop into something. But back to the Castros, Harold Castro's the guy you let go most likely, because Willie Castro still has that upside. He hit 350 just a year ago in the shortened season.
And a little more versatility.
And more versatility, more athleticism overall, yeah.
because he can play second. Like I know Harold Castro can play second, but
Harold-
not at an elite level. And I think
Harold
Willie
Castro
defensively at second, like he's a shortstop by trade, right? With a weaker arm. Is that fair?
weaker overall defensively. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, his arm is sporadic. It's not that it's a weak arm. He makes a lot of errors with his arm.
Okay.
Harold Castro is one of the lowest rated defensive infielders you could find in baseball. So there's the analytics guys are not going to like Harold Castro offensively or defensively.
All right, real quick, we want to move into the outfield here. Victor Reyes, I put him on here. I think I don't want to have him part of this conversation if that's okay, unless you wanted to bring him up.
No, we can move past him.
Derek Hill, Daz Cameron. And it's not necessarily these two guys. It's the logjam of the outfield in general and where these guys are going to fit long term because Riley Green is the big name. He's going to
He's
take
better than
these
both
guys'
of them.
jobs. He's going to take these guys' jobs. When is the question? But they're also both still young, both very highly first-round picks, right? If I remember correctly. These guys are something that would suck to give up on first-round picks. And I know it's a different world when it comes to baseball, but that's a huge miss if you're creating this logjam in the outfield and these guys aren't panning out.
Yeah.
And you have to give up on one of these guys or both of these guys potentially because you've built this out you have other outfielders that they're just not going to get the job over, right?
Yeah, there's definitely more room for the outfield right now with Daz Cameron and Derek Hill. One of these guys can make a name for themselves and stick in the outfield. I think Derek Hill is more likely to be that guy, which you would have asked me last year. I would not have said that.
When he played, he was a difference maker.
Yeah.
At least in the outfield, defensively, stud.
Absolute defensive stud. And really the energy that he changed his swing 100%. And he got on base, and when he was on base, he stole bases and everything else. I think the youthful energy he brought was important to the team overall. Daz Cameron just swings and misses so much. If one of these guys steps up, I'd be happy. I don't really expect either one of them to be the long-term answer in the outfield. I think the Tigers will outgrow them, and if we get something out of them, that's good for them.
All right, and then there was one more name that I wanted to bring up for the Tigers was their pitcher, Alex Faedo. So he was drafted out of high school by the Tigers in the 40th round in 2014, and then once again the Tigers drafted him in the first round, right? Why can't I find that? Sorry.
Faedo was a first
round pick, 18th overall in 2017, out of the University of Florida, Gainesville, Florida. What do we do with this guy? So, high upside. He was in the baseball top 100 in 2018. Injuries have absolutely slowed him down.
COVID.
And COVID was a part of it.
Part of it.
So what are we going to do with this guy? Because we're creating a log jam of young pitchers, and he has no trade value at this point.
I wouldn't
because
say
of
he does.
the
He
questions.
has none. Yeah.
But what do you see with this guy?
I think you keep the logjam as long as you possibly can. You look at what the Braves did this last year. Like, they had so many young pitchers step up, and that contributed to winning a World Series through the injuries, through the signings, and the guys who didn't work out. And that's what the Tigers, I think they need to put themselves in that position, if at all possible, which means that you hold on to these guys. You bring them up, you put them down, you do whatever you can to hold on to a young core group of guys, and if one's lost from Tommy John, the next one steps in. You cannot just build your team around 5 starting pitchers. We're way past that in this day and age. We need 9 starting pitchers, 8 starting pitchers, so that when they go down, you've got somebody coming right up.
Yeah.
And if that means that he comes in and he lights the world on fire, and we lose the veteran signing that we're going to get or something like, so be it.
Yeah.
Who cares? Let the best players stick in the rotation. I expect him to be part of that plan. He's not going to be in the top 5 rotation right away.
Okay.
But if he finds himself there due to injuries, I want him to stick.
Do you think? So you think he still has a place in this organization?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's not time to give up. He's a swing and miss guy. He's demonstrated that.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of swings and misses. That there's something to be said for that.
The nice part about baseball is there's so many names, so many roster spots, 40-man roster I think they have, and then
Yep.
you can have minor leagues and free agencies like 7 years from now, it seems like, with all these guys. So it's not like we have to really, truly make a decision.
We can hide them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Yep.
But when you get to basketball, it's a little different because 5 guys are on the floor. How many guys are on a bench? How many guys are on an NBA roster? There's probably
Like
6 guys on the bench, maybe.
13-ish, I think.
Yeah,
I think
11,
I think the max is 15 actually.
Okay.
But
So the big one in Detroit sports with prospects that just don't look good right now. Killian Hayes.
oh, he's obvious. He's just looking at
So
us.
he was a first-round pick, 7th overall in 2020. Still very young. He's 20 years old. He's from, it says Lakeland, Florida.
Yeah, he's from Florida. He spent
I was like,
time.
Tigers camp?
So, all right, are we still talking Tigers?
I thought you jumped into the Pistons.
Lakeland, Florida? Isn't that where Tigers?
Yeah, you got it.
So is he a Tigers prospect?
No, he's
Or is
from
he a
France.
Pistons Okay.
Let's
all right.
go. Multi-sport, baby.
Well, yeah, I like this. This
Well,
is
if he
awesome.
can play baseball, then sign him up because I don't know about basketball.
All right. Anyways, he's a left-handed point guard that we drafted very high, and
Yeah.
I don't know anything about basketball.
Did you
John?
say we were high when we drafted him?
That's possible.
Well,
No, that was before Stan Van Gundy.
Anyways, what do we do with this guy, Ryan? His numbers are terrible. Well, 6.2 points per or 6.5 points per game in 60 games.
yeah.
4.4 assists per game. Stats are ugly, and the stats are probably better than what it even is.
Yeah, I mean, I so I found an article. The title of the article is "Killian Hayes is bad." That's just what they were talking about. I actually don't even have the guy's name on here. I could look that up if I really need to. But it starts by just saying, like, yeah, we know that rookies can be really bad, but Killian Hayes has been historically bad over the first 2 seasons, and I'll just kind of get right into it because we need to figure out if this guy's going to be bad forever or if there's some hope for him. So I'm going to read out some stats here. So
It feels sorry, go ahead. Just go.
yeah, so he started 51 of his 59 games. So he's starting. He's getting starters minutes. He's starting. He's shooting 30 for his career, 34% from the field, 28% from 3, and he's only been to the free throw line 50 times. Yeah, he is a talented passer. He can play defense, but I think the point is out of 237 players who have played more than 10 games and averaged more than 20 minutes per game, Killian Hayes ranks dead last, number 237 in true shooting percentage, which means true shooting percentage is like where they bring the 3-point percentage involved. Like if you're shooting 40% from 3, that's elite. That counts more than shooting 40% from 2 because of the value of the points. So when they add all that up, they're saying out of 237 players in the league over the last 2 years, Killian Hayes is dead last in true shooting percentage, and it's not even close.
Ugh.
In fact, historically, he is like unprecedented bad numbers shooting the ball for any rookie or second-year player. So the numbers show and would point to the fact that he's actually bad, that he's just a bad basketball player. He'll never be good on the offensive end. There's only a couple of examples, I think, that we can even find where somebody has dug out of this hole. Lonzo Ball being one of them. But I think the problem with that is Lonzo Ball had great stats in college, and he shot the ball in college, and he just went through lack of confidence and then gained it back. And now he's one of the elite 3-and-D players in basketball right now for the Chicago Bulls.
Are we talking like G League material here with numbers?
We're talking.
Or are we
He's
talking
going to
like,
go back
no.
home to France and play, right?
Yeah.
Or Lakeland. I mean,
Well, yeah, we need to figure that out. And I think that's the point. So of the 317 players who have at least 30 field goal attempts in the restricted area, so near the basket, Killian ranks 297 out of those 317 in field goal percentage. And out of the 152 players who have at least 30 field goal attempts from the mid-range, Killian Hayes ranks 148 out of 152. So, again, this is like when you talk about a 3-level scorer, you talk about getting inside, mid-range, and outside. Right now, Killian is a no-level scorer. From none of those levels is he an average or even a below average score. He's almost dead last in all of those areas, which is just, again, kind of historically bad.
Wow.
And, and I think that just means that, like, overall for the team, he can make an impact on the defensive side, but when the defense doesn't have to worry about you at all, whether you're driving, whether you're shooting three, whether you're trying to shoot mid-range, when you have the ball in your hands, if you can just forget about it and look at everybody else, you're playing 5-on-4. And that's like playing against me in high school. I wouldn't shoot the ball. I'm basically Killian Hayes right now. Like, there wouldn't be a difference. He doesn't shoot, and when he does, he misses. You can grab a whole lot of people that can do that.
Yeah. Who is he in the way of anybody? And I don't mean like somebody that's already on the roster, but just like changing things up. Like, does he make this team worse than they are, or is it more or less just like we got to let this guy develop, and we're just letting him develop on the court, like
and that's
on the NBA court? Like,
yeah.
why isn't he going to the G League?
That's
and
always
developing?
been the argument. That's always been the argument that he needs more time to develop, and he came over from France playing against professionals, so he should have been quicker to pick up on the game and be farther ahead than other people. That's why he started right out of the gate last year. I think we're at a point right now where there needs to be a decision, and that's the point of this segment, right?
Yeah.
It's decision time, and it's absolutely what needs to happen right now. I don't want him to just sit the bench and not get playing time. I want him to keep playing. Right now is the time to figure out who he really is. But he's proven that that as a starter, he isn't who we want him to be. So now I think he's in the prove it time where you're going to get bench minutes. You're going to come off the bench, and you better change the way you play in order to earn more playing time. Put the pressure on Killian Hayes, make him develop and grow up a little bit. He's like a little scared kid out there. No, time to grow up and be a big boy and see what you can do on the court and start getting some confidence. And if he doesn't, I'm sorry, you're not going to last in the league, and there's plenty of people that don't last in the league.
Did the Pistons make a mistake last year throwing him to the Wolves? Just tossing him out there, letting him figure it out?
I don't think so. I think they knew what they had as a roster. I mean, you were overpaying Blake Griffin at that point, and then you got rid of him for nothing. If you're going to develop a guy like Killian Hayes, you can't develop him in the G League when you got Dwayne Casey, who's one of the best at developing young guys, especially foreign talent, with his time in Toronto. It's just unfortunate that they don't have a squad right now that's competitive with even the bottom of the barrel. And
I think
we wasted a 7th overall pick on this guy.
Yeah.
If he wasn't a 7th overall pick, would he be in the league right now?
he wouldn't be getting the minutes he's getting right now.
Definitely. He would be a backup to somebody. He would be a backup point guard.
So is it just we just need to remove, and like I felt this way with Lions in the past, is like just remove where he was picked from and enjoy what he is. Or
work on it.
Or work on what he is. And be like, remove that label of where he was drafted and who you could have drafted instead, blah, 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 and just look at him as a player. Dude, us as fans just need to be like, I'm going to remove the 7th overall label and recalculate the way I look at this guy. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but I think with Killian, it's so obvious just watching him play. If you watch the games, you can see the lack of confidence all over him. And so as fans, you want him to be out there playing because you want him to work through that and like grow up in the game of basketball and move past it, because I think there are some things about him that we all see that could be good. He's a very good passer. He really is. But when you pass every time and you're predictable, then you're not going to be effective. And you're a good defensive player. But when you're a complete liability and dead last in all of basketball in the offensive end, it doesn't matter how good you are in the defensive end. You're not adding to the team. So it's a frustrating place to be in. And right now, I want to put the pressure on him and make him grow up a little bit. And plenty of players grow up with a different team and then who drafted them. Or some people go play overseas and they never come back. Yeah. And I think we're at that point now where it's like, Killian, I'm sorry, we gave you every opportunity in the world. If you're lacking in confidence, that's on you now, because they gave plenty of opportunity for him to gain that confidence. It's on you. Prove it. See what's going on. And I think that's his career path right now, is become a bench player. We saw what Cade Cunningham did tonight. 34 points, career high, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 blocks. I mean, incredible. Only other rookie to put up numbers like that, Michael Jordan.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, I have
Pretty
too.
good, right?
At least
Who?
competitive.
MJ.
Michael Jordan.
MJ.
So-
That's a creative nickname for MJ.
Yeah.
So I
like that.
want to focus
Kinda nice
our
ring to
effort on the rebuilding side on Cade Cunningham because he's the real deal, and we didn't miss on
Sure.
that number 1 overall pick. If Killian wants to be a part of that, that's fine. Come in from the bench, and if you turn into a stud shooting, you gain your confidence back, and everything's hunky dory. Join the starting lineup, be a 6'5" point guard, and like be the Lonzo Ball where you stand in the corner. There's a place for you on the team if you become that, but you cannot be historically bad on offense.
All right, moving to some Red Wings, or at least one Red Wing. The one that's really creating a lot of the conversation in the Red Wing world is Filip Zadina. He was the 6th overall pick in 2018. He's got 19 career goals in 126 career games, 29 assists, only 48 points, and he's minus 39 as plus minus. All right. This is an interesting one. So the key with this one's a little different than all the other ones because he's a restricted free agent. The Red Wings actually need to make a decision on this guy. Now, restricted free agent, you can usually get at a discount. You get him at a lower than market value usually in the NHL because they're looking for that bridge deal to get to the free agency. So you don't have to make a full decision on this guy, but I want to talk about the way that this guy's been playing and all that. Like his numbers lie in a lot of ways because the Red Wings are a bad team. They're fun. They're exciting finally. And their top line is one of the better lines in hockey.
It's really
and
all they
them,
got.
They make them a lot better than what they actually are. And when you start getting into the 9 through 12 forwards, that's where the real drop-off is. And that's where Zadina's playing right now. They're trying to find his place, trying to find a creative way to make this team deeper by moving Bertuzzi off the top line and messing with a bunch of stuff. But Zadina's playing pretty good hockey. He really is. We just need to change our expectations of what he is. We expected this guy's shot to come in and perform in the NHL right away. He's a different type of player than Lucas Raymond. Obviously not as good. He's a completely different player than a Sider. But what we have here is a guy that came in and is getting NHL time. And he doesn't look out of place in the NHL. He's not the best skater. He's not the fastest. He's not good with the puck, which I think is a key part of what we're seeing with Zadina. Is the puck on his stick is never a good thing, but he's not quite good enough to be right there with the top guys that can get him the puck. And we're not deep enough to have really good players on the third line that fit what he's doing. Same thing with kind of Rasmussen a little bit. I didn't put him on here because he's kind of already locked up for a few years, so I didn't want to waste anybody's time on it. But Zadina, he still has a place in this league, and I don't think we need to give up. We can't give up on this guy, and we can't be too hard on him either because he's playing hard. He's playing good hockey. And it's just the matter of the depth in on this team is really what's hurting him. And when we get a guy like Vrana back as our best player, that just makes the team that much deeper. And that's when he can really start developing. And I'm not saying he's going to play with Vrana, but the guy that Vrana is going to take the place is going to move down to the second line. Somebody else is going to move down to third. It just gets better. The team gets better, and that's the issue. I would love to see a little bit more production on the power play and stuff, but
I think the expectations were set very high when he was drafted because he was the first glimmer of young hope. Because he fell, 3 spots?
Yeah, everybody was expecting him to be picked third overall.
I mean, top 3, right?
Yep.
Not he wasn't going to go first overall, but right at that third spot. But he fell to the Wings at 6, and boy, we thought we got away with murder at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we were really excited.
He was a little disgruntled, and what did he say?
He said, "I'm going to fill their nets with pucks," or something in his Czech accent.
Right,
So like,
right. So, little disgruntled. He wanted to show the world that Montreal, I think it was, screwed up because he was basically he almost seemed like he was destined to be a Canadian, and that didn't happen. And here he is in Detroit, and not showing his numbers aren't showing that top 3 selection. And so I think that he created, kind of like this bed of nails he's kind of sleeping in with what he said. And I don't think anyone hangs on to that too much, but I think the expectations overall were set a little too high.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have Mo Sider coming in after him, when you have Lucas Raymond coming in after, you see kind of Larkin coming into his own. You see Bertuzzi doing what he's doing, and then all that's kind of overshadowing Zadina, which is maybe it's good in a way, maybe it's bad in a way, but in the end, it's not someone that you can really give up on. I don't think you should give up on him.
No, I agree, and I think the like you said, with the way Raymond and Sider are playing, jumping in the league right away, that's what's really hurting Zadina the most, and that's what we expect. Oh, well, if they were drafted and they're performing, why isn't Zadina?
It changed the expectations.
It changes the expectations
of the fans. So I just have a quick question. So he just turned 22. That's not the question. I know it because I saw his birthday there. He just turned.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now
right,
that's
on.
answered. Next question. So you said that when the puck is on his stick, it's never a good thing. What do you mean by that? Because when I watch him play, I feel like he's in a good position pretty often on the ice. Like he's involved. He seems scrappy. Seems to be in a good spot, but for some reason the results aren't there.
When the puck hits his stick, everything slows down. He's not fast when he has the puck on his stick. That doesn't mean he's not going to be a good hockey player. He's never going to be Connor McDavid. He's never going to be the guys that go end-to-end, Dylan Larkin and stuff like that. But when the puck...
Did he compliment Larkin?
Yeah.
Well, Dylan Larkin's a way better skater in general, especially with the puck.
Similar to Connor McDavid, you said.
No, I'm just...
Oh.
John, get that on repeat.
I went from like a high level to a mid-level. And then
And a low level. Okay.
Look,
I got some quotes that are getting trimmed tonight, guys.
Yeah.
We got a double rub, and we got a Dylan Larkin and
A double rub.
you notice him because when the puck hits a stick, the feel of the game changes. He's a shooter. That's what he is. And
Where is he playing? Is he playing forward right now for us, or is he playing?
Yeah, he's a forward. Yeah,
Okay.
he's right now a third line winger.
All right. He's not center. So who's he playing with alongside right now?
Usually it's
Is it Rasmussen?
No one and nobody.
Nemesnikov and or did Nemesnikov get that? I don't know. They honestly mix it up so much. It's really a day-to-day thing. So what they've recently done is moved Bertuzzi down to line 2, so to try to make line 2 a little deeper. And when that happened, Zadina moved down to line 3.
So they didn't help him at all.
Yeah. So and that's where I'm getting.
I think
so
he's
like,
playing with Rasmussen.
let's say Zadina and Raymond switch
man.
spots, and I get that Raymond is better, and that's what we see the results too.
Yeah.
But he's also kind of gone through a little funk here, right? Where he's not actually putting up points.
Zadina?
Assists are there. No, Raymond. Lucas
Raymond. Yeah.
Yeah, assists are still coming, but like the goals aren't there like it was early on in the year. Does Zadina look better if he's on the first line?
I mean, if he's playing with a guy like Larkin and Bertuzzi,
If he can just forget about things and shoot.
yeah, I'm sure he would look a lot better and put up points.
So when the wings get deep enough where he can do that even on the third line,
That's the key.
that would impact him.
Because he's going to have guys that can control a game
Yeah,
with him.
I think that's
that
so
can have
key.
the puck on their stick, that can make the play instead of him needing to be the one to make the play.
I think that's so key in all these sports. So we're talking about all of our sports teams right now, and these guys we need to make a decision on. Depth is so important, but especially in this kind of a thing with hockey, it's not that your reserves are there in case something happens. They all get regular ice time every single game.
Yeah.
So you have to keep investing in these young guys. Again, he just turned 22 years old. How do you not say that he's part of this core group of guys, and maybe as part of the core he's on fourth line eventually, and you realize that you have a whole bunch of other better guys, or he's that first-round talent that took longer to develop, and by the time he's 25 and good, he's like a stud third liner.
The hard part with hockey, though, is you have your top 6 forwards are your talented guys, the guys that can shoot, the guys that can score, the guys that can cycle and make the plays, basically. And then when you get into a third line, fourth line role, you don't want those guys Those aren't the guys that you build your team around. The guys that expect to score, that bring value putting up points necessarily. Yeah, you can find those guys, and that's great, but those are your checking guys, the guys that you want to match up against another team's top line.
Yeah, I see
So
what
you know what I mean? So it's like
It's not apples.
it's not apples and oranges. Like you can't just have a first line.
No, it
1,
is
2,
apples and oranges. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
different.
it is. Yeah, I don't know. But basically, what I'm
Bananas.
saying is,
Now, that's true.
Zadina, his game type is top 6 forward, and he's not getting those minutes, that time. He's also not playing with top 6 forward talent
Okay,
either.
let's get down to brass tacks really quick. Now, with Verona coming back, what happens with the top 2 lines?
Okay,
Or finish out your thought. I'm sorry.
no, honestly I don't know what they're gonna do. It's gonna be very interesting. Verona
Decision time.
is top 6 forward guy, no question.
I wanted to know where you were going with that. If he was going to be a top 6 forward guy or a top 3, hands down.
He's I don't want to say because it all depends on the way that like who they want him to gel with. I think that they're going to stick with the first line the way it is. Have Verona, Bertuzzi, and whoever's centering that line right now. I can't think of it, but like just load up completely for the top 6, and maybe I don't know who they would send down to the third line.
That's what I was getting at. Is I wanted to see Verona and Zadina matched up on the second line.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
See, why not?
And
though?
that's where we're having that's where it's tough. It's really tough. He doesn't deserve top 6 time right now. But how do we make our third line a little bit more like the second line that can be a threat?
Yeah,
and show that
he's been drinking alcohol
and
for 1 year
the only thing, yeah,
in the U.S.
and that's probably half the problem. As he probably discovered it, and he's like, "Oh, I like this a lot." But I don't know. He's not holding anybody back either. We don't have somebody that's like, we want somebody over him, so re-sign him, get a good deal, see how it develops. That's the biggest key.
Yeah, if they really believe in him, maybe it's time to restructure for a team-friendly type of deal.
For sure. Let's move to the Lions real quick. How are we sitting on time, John? How much time we got here?
How much time do we have left, or how much time has transpired?
How much time has transpired?
He just said Lions.
Can you do the math? 102 minutes.
All right, 142.
Okay.
Trust me.
I was going to say 22.
Yeah.
So that's why I can't do the math, right?
If I could hit the ding.
You blew his mind.
Yeah, no.
All right. We got a couple Lions here.
Yeah, we got a couple comments rolling in, too.
Oh, boy.
Jarrett's requesting that we talk
go.
about college basketball at some point.
Yeah. We'll talk to you in March, buddy. Maybe late February.
I think
See,
next week. I think next week we could do something.
Okay.
All right, Ryan's running that topic.
And Kyle sure is commenting a lot. Maybe he wants to make a little cameo.
Does he want to come back?
I don't know.
Man, it'd be nice.
Kyle, we don't read comments. We only give people microphones.
Do we have room on at the table for a guy like that?
No, we're pretty comfortable right now.
I kind of like the 3.
Yeah.
We don't have room for a crowned man.
Sorry, Kyle.
King Kyle's
King Kyle.
comments.
I threw your mic away. Actually,
King Kyle's comments. I think that's a new thing.
yeah, King Kyle's comments of the future.
Jarrett would just like to talk a little bit about the number 10 ranked MSU Spartans.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
yeah,
what,
good for them.
What,
They
what
just
sport
lost.
is that
I thought
in?
he was a Florida
Did they
guy.
lose today?
That's
Yeah,
what
they
I
just
asked.
lost.
I asked him if Tampa Bay residents root for the Orlando Magic or the Miami Heat. You know, they don't got a professional team down there. So.
State just lost to Illinois today, 56-55.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that was a big
Really?
game, wasn't it?
Sorry,
Well,
Jarrett.
That was for first place. in
They're
the
not going to be
Pac-12
number
rivalry?
10 anymore. So
Ooh.
stay up to date with your college
Yeah.
basketball talk.
And I know Michigan's
Jarrett.
been really disappointing, but they have. It almost feels like a corner's been turned a little bit, and they're looking a little better.
Jarrett said he's had to listen to 2 Lions mock drafts and Tigers talk before college basketball talk when the season's actually
Nobody's
going on.
forcing you to listen.
Also, Jarrett, last week was Monday. I know for a fact you were not listening. I saw your comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, let's move on.
Yes, please.
Lions.
Don't bring up these type of comments, John.
Well, I'm just letting the
I actually
people
love
know
Or I'll
that.
that
We need
suspend
to
you
know.
for another 8 weeks
that
like I
they're
did
being
before.
heard. All right.
Come on, Sam, don't do that.
All
Kyle,
right, no, I'm not going to do that.
Kyle,
No.
what are you up to next week?
All right, the big one, Jeff
He's like,
Okuda.
not that.
El Jefe.
No, I feel like what Jeff Okudah is we need to remove the number 3 overall pick off of his back and just say, what kind of NFL player are you? And that's what Lions fans need to do. I know it's hard, but, like, he's good. He's good. He's athletic. He's a good football player. He's going to find his way.
He's got a spot somewhere.
And that's where it's like, was he worth the 3rd overall pick? Currently, right now, no. I cannot tell you that with a straight face. But is he a good football player in the NFL? I'm sure he's going to find his way, and it's going to work out. And we still got time on him. That was only year 2, and he was injured. So we don't have to make the decision on the option yet. But we got to find where he fits because he does have a little versatility, and you keep bringing up potentially moving him to a safety position.
Yeah, it could be. It's on the table.
So
this is the same injury that I'm trying to think of who just came back from this injury.
Cam Akers?
Yeah, Cam Akers just came back from the same exact injury,
Yeah.
and they're talking about it as like a 6-month thing right now, or 6 to 8 month thing, I think. So Okudah, I guess the point is Okudah should be ready for next year's training camp, or could be, and if he is, there's a lot of hype with him this year and how good he looked and how fast he looked and how his decision making. He was a different player. That's what they told us. And everything else they told us with all the hype ended up being mostly true. So I have to believe if you have a healthy Jeff Okudah year 2 and he turns out to be a good football player, like a Jerry Jacobs, like everybody loves Jerry Jacobs right now. If he would have showed out like Jerry Jacobs for the first 6 weeks, would we feel differently about this? Because we lost him so early, we couldn't tell. He had a good week 1. He did. He had a good week 1.
If he played like Jerry Jacobs, people would still be like, well, he's still a 3rd overall pick.
Yeah, probably true. Yeah, because we had no
The
expectations
reason why
for Jerry Jacobs
is, whoa, this guy's pretty good.
Yeah, and there's some truth to that, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think with Okudah, with the size that he is, as a cornerback, I think he's like 6'2", bigger body, not elite speed or anything, but he's got the arm length and everything you want in that type of like shutdown or at least athletic cornerback. That translates to safety as well. So if you were to pair him up at safety or see what he can do, he's always been a really good tackler. I think there's somewhere for him to fit on the football field. And if you're not going to get top 3 production from him,
so be it.
Who cares? I mean,
Right.
Yeah, you're getting something from him. And this isn't even like it's the regime that drafted him in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I mean, your sample size is so small. I mean, how can you make a decision like this with such a small sample size?
Yeah,
right?
the sample size is small, and it's extremely small with this defense, this coaching staff, this regime, and guys that like our safeties have come out and talked about how this coaching staff is different. This is how we got better because of them. What could Okudah have done?
Yeah.
And we got a quarter and a half of football?
Well, and our defensive coordinator name,
Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn specializes in this. This is what he does with defensive backs. And this was like his pet project over the offseason with Jeff Okudah. And again, the hype was about Okudah and the steps he was going to take. And let's not forget, year 1, he was injured through that whole thing too. He had the hamstring injury he was dealing with in week 1 of his rookie year. Injuries are part of the game in football. Romeo Okwara was supposed to be our sack king this year, and we lost him right away with a terrible injury. It's part of the game. So if this ends up being, Okudah's career and he never comes back, it's just going to be another sad story about an injury ruined a potential talent. That's the way I'm seeing this. I don't see him as a bust. I see him as we still don't even know what this guy is.
No,
I just want to find a spot for him on the field.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. A couple names that I put on here. Jamar Jefferson, who was a 7th-round pick last year. Trinity Benson, who was traded for a 5th and a 7th-round pick to the Broncos. They also got the Broncos' 6th-round pick. Now, I don't think we need to make a decision on these guys, but this was their year because the injuries that we had at running back, there was times that our 2 top running backs were out, and yeah, Jamar Jefferson got a little bit of time and looked decent.
He looked good.
Trinity Benson never got an opportunity in one of the worst wide receiving cores of all time heading into the season and mid-season and all that stuff. If there was a year that these guys would show that they have value in this league, I feel like it would have been this year. And here I'm just looking at these two names, and I'm like, we need to upgrade. If they weren't good enough to get more playing time, get more snaps, get more touches on this team, how in the world will they have a space, have a spot on this team next year when we're winning the division?
I think with
That's the
Jamar,
second time I did that, and you guys haven't talked to me.
I think with Jamar Jefferson, Craig Reynolds was the main benefactor after Jefferson got hurt. Craig Reynolds ended up earning a new contract, really, for next year as well.
Yeah.
Based on the playing time he got and the opportunity he got and capitalized on. That could have been Jamar Jefferson. He scored a touchdown with a really impressive run
against the Steelers.
I think it was the Steelers.
Yeah.
But either way, he scored that. It was like a 28-yard run or something that. And it was impressive, and he got hurt on that play, as he's scoring a touchdown. It's again another unfortunate thing. I'd like to keep him on the team. I'd like to for him. I like the way he runs. He's a vision first running back. He's not all about the tools, speed, running over guys or anything like that. He's more about finding the space and working his way through the defense. There's a place for a guy like that, especially if he's a hard worker and he can contribute on special teams. I'm not going to give up on him. We don't need to. He's still on a rookie deal.
Trinity Benson, wide receiver that we traded from the Broncos. Again, we were weak at wide receiver. We were weak at wide receiver bodies, and they had to bring in Josh Reynolds to come in and be that.
Yeah,
Trinity
this one
Benson
was
was
disappointing.
supposed to be that.
This is disappointing.
And if we're going to upgrade at wide receiver, which we freaking better, this guy's got no place on this roster.
Correct, yeah. I mean, unless he's a spare option at some point. Yeah, I don't think this matters. People say we give up a 5th-round pick. Yeah, but we got Benson in return. We give up 5th and 7th-round picks, and we got a 6th in Benson. So, really, it's basically like Benson for a 6. If you tell me a 6th-round wide receiver didn't work out, I'd be like, who cares? It was a 6th-round wide receiver. They took a flyer. They gave it a shot. We have him signed through next year, too. That contract will probably be cut. Come this offseason just to free up some cap space. I'm not worried about this. I don't expect him to be up with the team long term.
All right. Logan Stenberg, Will Harris. I put both of them on the list. Probably shouldn't have. Is it worth talking about either?
Will Harris, I think, is worth talking about. Logan Stenberg hasn't seen the field. It's not worth talking about a guy that hasn't really made an impact. Will Harris is a failed safety. And then he comes in when we have no cornerbacks left, and he actually...
So is he the opposite of Okuda?
Kind of, yeah. When we needed him most, he was there. He was available, and he actually played... I'm not going to say he played a good cornerback, but he was there playing, and he was competitive, and he played... I think he was a better cornerback than he was a safety, which is funny because he couldn't guard anybody as a safety, cover anybody. But as a cornerback, he played his role. He played off people, and he made him throw it 6 yards and went up and tackled him. So I don't know. I think Will Harris is one of those guys that the coaching staff might have fallen in love with because of his grit, and he might be a locker room guy, and I can't say that for sure, but I expect him to be on the team over the next couple of years.
All right, the last one I wanted to bring it up, and this is probably the biggest one because it is decision time. T.J. Hawkinson. Look, he deserves a spot on this roster. He's an extremely good tight end. He's the best tight end we've had in a very, very long time, if not ever.
Since Sloan?
Sloan, I forgot. What was his first name?
I don't know.
Man.
On it. Jerry Sloan?
I don't know. Anyways. What?
Do you remember his name?
Definitely not Jerry Sloan.
Not Jerry Sloan?
Wasn't he the coach of the Utah Jazz?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
He was 45, but he looked like he was 73.
Grayest hair already.
All right. Anyways, basically, we're going to come in here. We're going to pick up his 5th-year option, right, which is coming up. But then he's a free agent in 2024, and he's going to get a payday. And I think the Lions need to make that decision is are we going to be the ones that pay him? Where are we at in this rebuild? Are we able to pay for a top-level tight end to be... I don't know. I'm asking. I'm getting distracted here.
I can give you my opinion, but...
Would you pay this guy?
You don't pay him unless you have a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go draft a quarterback and you believe in him and he shows promise, then you re-sign this guy to match whenever you have to pay your quarterback. To the number of years, the duration for when you have to start spending money on your quarterback so you can release him when the time comes to pay your quarterback. You match him up exactly along those timelines because he's not worth paying if you're not ready to invest in a quarterback. He doesn't even – your young quarterback of the future is not going to miss him if he's never played with him.
So, okay.
You know what I mean?
See, yeah.
And the last thing you do is overpay for a tight end with an average middling quarterback that is never going to do anything for you.
John?
And I don't think Jared Goff is like the quarterback that T.J. Hawkinson needs either, right?
No, Hawkinson could upgrade big time if he leaves Jared Goff. So I think again it
just
comes
like historically not a tight end throwing like quarterback. You know, he's needed a deep, fast threat, and we don't have that. You know, and he had that with Robert Woods and who was he's bounced around.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Used to be elite talent.
But doesn't Goff
Talking
need
about
a
wide
check
receiver?
down guy?
It's usually his running back, isn't
with
it?
his running back, but
Yeah.
whatever his name is,
He's out of the league.
Clemson.
Brandon Cooks. He had Brandon Cooks right in L.A.
He did have Brandon Cooks, you're right.
When they went to the Super Bowl, and
Yeah.
so he hasn't had any of that in Detroit, right? And I don't know. I want Hawkinson to stay. But
I do too. I like what he does. I'm trying to play that angel on one shoulder, demon on the other. It's like, has he really done enough to get a paycheck? Well, he's really good tight end. You really want here. Well, do you really want to overpay? Does he deserve top 5 tight end money? And you guys get that cap space hit, and that's awful.
Yeah, there's no doubt he
Can
needs
you
to
live
be
without
paid.
him?
He's great. But, I mean, is the timing right? Like Ryan said, I think Ryan nailed it.
The timing is actually a really good point with that, and it's will we have our our quarterback of the future ready to go?
Yeah.
Or
If you draft Sam Howell this year, right, Ryan?
Well, and that's really it. If you draft Sam Howell and you believe in him,
no?
with the second
Sorry,
overall,
all right, sorry.
yeah.
I'm sure this is just firing up Jared. More draft talk.
Does
No,
he not
no,
like
no.
draft talk?
More
If-
mock
if you're-
draft to
All
the
right,
season.
have
still
Jarrett
going on.
email me and tell me what he wants to talk about next week, and we'll design a episode for him.
All right.
It better
Sam.
be the happiest beer on earth, is what
Sam,
we're
true or false? If you
Hey.
invest in a quarterback this year in the draft, it's in the first round. Extra year of eligibility or control.
Then it has to be, yeah.
Yes. So you absolutely you have 2 draft picks in the first round. If you invest in a quarterback, it's going to be first round. It's not even an option after that.
Our second first round pick, potentially trade up to get the guy you want. If that's
sure,
where
if you believe in him.
yeah.
Yeah, if you believe
if
in
you're
him.
taking the 4th best quarterback off the board just because, that's when I'm like, see ya. Like I'm out.
So at this point with the quarterback situation, the best case scenario is we draft our future quarterback this year in the first round. If we don't do that, we cannot pay a tight end elite money without the system around him to be good or to make use of him.
But it also doesn't hurt to have an elite tight end ready for that young quarterback to be like, all right, I'm in, I'm ready to go. All right, I need something to throw to.
No, because you invest in game breakers. You invest in defensive ends, guys who good after the quarterback and all that kind of stuff. Quarterbacks like
So
the Patriots.
are you
do.
saying T.J. Hawkinson is not a game breaker? Because
No,
I
he's
feel
not.
like he has the ability to be.
Since when? Week 1 of his rookie year when he had 125 yards and he hasn't done that since?
He was really happy at that point.
Yeah, we all were. Yeah, we saw the potential. There's obviously
It was
potential
a really
there.
big tie against the Cardinals.
Jeez.
Big deal.
I'm a huge Hawkinson fan. I think there's a lot of value in a guy who can block and like the unpredictability of a good tight end to go out like Travis Kelce and dominate there, or put a massive block on somebody and let your running back go run
I think
wild.
we're seeing that there's multiple. Everybody wanted the Kittles and the who you just said,
Kelce.
They're both still in it, by the way.
and
Zach
Gronks
Ertz.
and so like everybody wanted that, but there's also other ways of doing it. There's the Tunyons. There's the Edwards or Andrews. Sorry, Andrew. Like they're different. There's other ways to have a good, successful tight end in this league, and that's where I think we need to figure out is like, do we need the potential high end of a Kittle? Because that's what I think Hockenson is. His upside is a Kittle, or can we get away with downgrading, paying less, getting a different breed, if you will, of tight end?
Okay, if you, honest to goodness, think he is a Kelsey or a Gronk, then pay him because they are massive weapons. We've watched those guys.
That's where I'm leaning.
He's not a Kelsey.
You don't think he is?
And I don't think so either. I think he's
the next tier.
I think Kelsey is like that high A tier. I think Hockenson is in the B tier. You know, and that's, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He's a great tight end. I know that. But I just don't know if I would pay him Kelsey money, you know?
Yeah, no, I hear you there. But when was the last time we let a tier 2-ish position player go, and where did he end up?
You're talking about Stafford. That's
because
not even
he was a
comparison.
he's second-tier type talent.
It's not even a comparison. You can't compare a quarterback to a tight end.
Can I, John?
He's
Am I
trying.
allowed to do that?
I don't know. I think a quarterback does touch the ball every offensive play, right?
Yeah, you're right.
You get what I'm saying, though.
Matt Stafford had a hard time getting T.J. Hockenson the ball when he was wide open at times.
You do get what I'm saying, though. Tier 2 is not a bad thing. And if you have one on your roster, don't let it go. Because a tier 2, any position is very important.
He's going to require elite money for his position.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing having a tier 2 guy, but you can't pay him
Ryan
tier
wants
1
to get
money.
rid of Hockenson.
No. That's not what I said. If we draft a quarterback next year, that means they believe in this guy. That means he's the guy of the future. I want to keep Hockenson around for that young guy.
Okay. Do you think T.J. Hockenson
for 4 years
is going to call for that elite money or that just sub-elite money?
I think it's becoming the position that people overpay for. And there's no way he's not going to be a top 5 paid tight end when this contract comes up. Will it be with the Lions or will it be with somebody else?
You can use a second-round pick any year you want to get a semi-elite tight end who can catch the ball and run around.
I just think every position in general, especially when you're that highly drafted, you're going to be a highly paid at that position one way or another.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
When that year comes around, franchise tag him.
You could.
If you're on the fence and if it's that close, just tag him, make him play for it, or make him walk the following year.
Again, though, I think this all has to do with whatever you're doing at quarterback. If you're investing in a quarterback,
and how
you
you're
give
sitting,
him a tight end.
And how you're sitting in cap space.
Sure, absolutely.
Because if you can afford to overpay for a tight end, do it.
And you do that, you overpay for a tight end
because
when your
deep
quarterback's on a rookie deal.
deal.
That's my point.
Yep. And that's exactly what the Chiefs did.
Yep.
That's exactly what a lot of these successful tight ends were dealing with rookie contract quarterbacks.
Yeah. If you found your quarterback, absolutely you want an elite tight end with him. And that's the opportunity you want to give that young guy when he's coming in. If you're running with Jared Goff for the next 2-3 years because you think he could be something, sorry, you don't overpay for a tight end in that scenario.
Cool. All right, let's move on. Ryan, you want to explain Betting Hero after I hit the bumper or no?
From the Red Wings to Michigan State, we're talking about it. This is State of My Sports.
I feel like
We
I
do it
can
raw.
read all your minds out there. You're looking for a way to support this podcast. The best way to do that is go to bettinghero.com, promo code MIBETS, and put in just start making some money, right? I mean, they give you all these promo codes from every single online sports betting platform available to you, and you can go pick and choose every single one of them if you want to, win free money as much as you want to. And that's kind of what they're geared toward, is to give you whatever promo code they have that's going to make as easy money as they can for you. Go to bettinghero.com, promo code MIBETS. They've got it lined out for you right there. That's the best way to support this podcast.
Thank you. That's our pick music, people. Last week, Micah 2-2. Kyle and Ryan 1-3.
Oh, boy.
I also went 2-2. Micah, you're leading the way, 78-67 overall.
Wonderful.
Kyle and Ryan are tied 75-70 overall, and I am at 72-73, still below 500.
Man, any of those games could have gone anywhere, right?
They were all so close.
It's not a comfortable weekend for anybody with a lot of money on the line.
No, I wouldn't. Can you imagine being like an under-better in that Kansas City Buffalo game in the last 2 minutes? Just
No, I
whoop,
can't.
just change. You were sitting pretty.
Did you see Barstool when they hit the over and they were like all pumped because it was like at the end of the fourth when they hit the over, and then it's like they scored
man.
like 21 more points and it ended up not being a big deal. It's like they waited all game for that.
Very nice. Anyways, we're gonna We're gonna make our picks for the NFL. Bengals at the Chiefs. Chiefs 7-point favorite. I didn't write down Kyle's picks.
He
He
probably didn't
texted
even
me.
give them to
No,
you.
he texted them to me.
Oh, he did.
Micah, what are you doing?
Okay. See, even though I like Joe Burrow, the ice in his veins, I think this is kind of where the Bengals stop. I just... The Chiefs and Mahomes have elevated themselves like they usually do, and I think the Chiefs are going to take care of business. Give me the Chiefs.
Kyle is taking the Bengals
Wow.
To cover?
to cover the 7.
Wow, Kyle, ballsy.
King Kyle.
He's
I like
trying
his
to
pick.
He's trying to make up ground.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to bet against the Chiefs at this point? They're so good and dominant. I'm going with the Bengals.
Wait, what?
Are you serious?
Yeah, pick at the Bengals.
Okay. All right.
I said, how can you? And then I did it.
That was good.
That's
'cause
how.
it caught me off guard.
The 7
Greatly.
points is scary,
Dude.
but I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Oh, come on, do the Bengals.
Mike would just pick up one on everybody.
John, what would you do here? You're out of the picks running.
Well, I mean, I did pick the Bengals with my, third pick?
Yeah, how are we sitting on that?
Or second pick, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, we can talk about that next week.
We'll talk about it. I don't know. At Arrowhead, I think it's hard not to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah. All right. The over-under for the Bengals and Chiefs is set at 54.5. What you guys doing here?
Ooh. Give me the over.
Kyle is also taking the over. Ryan, do you hate knowing their picks before?
Yeah, I do, because it changes every
everything.
pick. Yeah, I'm going over. I'm not going to be dumb.
He's going to be smart.
Chiefs might be over on their own.
I can already see it in his eyes. He's going under.
Do you want the weather forecast? The 10-day?
No, come on. That's garbage.
What's the weather going to be?
Heat
No.
wave.
Heat wave?
Heat wave in Kansas City.
Get out.
Right now, it's 14 degrees in Kansas City.
Woof.
Sunday, it'll be 43 and sunny.
Holy
Say
smokes.
what?
All right, you changed that. I'm going under. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I am. I'm going to go under. Because this is my
You
chance
did
to
one of
catch
those
up.
jokes that I did, just backwards.
70 mile an hour winds.
Yeah! No, I'm going to take the under just because it's my one
It
opportunity to
says
gain
tornadoes. What does that mean?
gain a day on you guys, or a pick on you. All right, moving to 49ers and Rams. Rams 3.5-point favorite. Cal's taking the Rams. Mike, what are you doing?
Rams.
Ryan,
49ers. Stafford chokes.
I'm going Rams.
Straight up win.
Oh, yeah.
Over under is set at 3.5. Or
Jimmy
no,
G, baby. He just wins.
46.5.
Over. No, I want,
46.5.
I want the first one.
Come on, Vegas.
46.5.
Keep true to your word, Vegas.
Give me the under.
Kyle's taking the over. Ryan,
Really?
Yeah, man, you're killing me. I'm going to go over.
I'm going under.
Oh, man.
I think it's going to be like
You can switch it.
21.
This is
no,
all you
I'm
got.
going over. No. I got to make up some ground.
You're lucky that we let you get your pick in Saturday.
All right, next, the Red Wings, they play Chicago.
I
They
went
play
like
at
this.
Pittsburgh. They play the
3-0.
Leafs. They play the Ducks, all before we record next week. Over and under, 3.5 points. Micah,
Give me the over.
Kyle's
Lucas Raymond, baby.
Kyle's taking the under. Ryan, what are you doing?
I don't understand this. What is this?
3.5 points. You get 2 points for a win,
Red Wings
1 point for overtime loss.
against Chicago, at Pitt, Leafs, and
So out of the 4 games, 3.5 points. Over under.
I think my pick is going to bite me.
Over. Under.
over.
No.
I'm going over.
What?
Wait, what did you do?
Nothing.
He went over.
Oh, come on.
Oh, I'm going under then. Yeah, I thought you said
Darn
over.
it.
I'm going
Good pick.
over. Red Wings going to win 2 of these games. Easy.
Which 2?
Pitt.
Pitt, and Chicago.
No, Chicago and Ducks. Next, we got the Nuggets. Or the Pistons.
Yeah,
They play at the Magic, and then they play the Cavs. Will the Pistons score more points in the 2 games than they give up?
What? Say what?
More or less. So if they win
Yeah,
by...
no, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah. Micah?
You know what?
you're
I'm going to
predicting
do
the
my
over.
pick a little bit differently this time, and it's going to just piss someone off. I'm doing exactly what Ryan's going to do.
You can't do that.
Oh, yes, I
No,
can.
No, you're leading.
You're at the disadvantage.
You're leading.
I know.
That's the point.
Yeah, I know.
So
That's
what are you
my
going
pick.
to do?
Whatever Ryan does, that's what I'm doing.
What is
Why
this?
can't I do that? It's a free world,
Because
right?
you don't know what I'm doing. You're first.
That's
Go.
like not putting any money on the roulette table. Just like watching it spin.
That's not how it works.
Give me more.
Oh, I should have done that one.
Give me
That's not
more.
how any of this works.
Do it live.
Give me more. Give me more.
That's not how it works.
There you go.
That's not how any of this works.
What are you picking, Mike? You got to choose one.
Yeah.
I just
pick one.
said more.
Oh, more.
More?
Oh, okay, got it.
Kyle's taking more.
Jeez, I said more 5 times. Give me more, baby.
Yeah, less. Easy.
I'm going less as well. They're going to lose by 20, win by 10.
Cavs are hot.
Cavs are hot. They're going to lose by a lot. They might beat the Magic.
I don't know. They're fighting for like last place.
Yeah.
That's
First
it.
overall.
We're done. We're moving through.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
You seem more concerned about
Bumper
time.
of the night.
I don't know why.
Yeah. I've never seen you this concerned about time before. I kind of like it. It's a good
Because he
change.
knows he's over 2
Micah,
hours.
what are we drinking tonight? Are we over 2? I don't think we're over 2 yet.
There's
Are we over
no
2
way
hours?
we're
He's
not.
trying. He's trying to be under 2.
We are over 2.
Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an over-under bet
could've
with
told you
somebody.
that.
Remember when I said we were
It's
at
like
an
an
hour
an
and
hour ago
42
we were at-
minutes
yeah.
when
An
we
hour
started
ago?
talking about Tigers
Yeah, it was
players?
an hour ago.
Oh, man. Classic.
And then
He thought he wasn't even close. to
John says he wants to start controlling the show sheet. So if you really want to do that,
well, that was only because Carrie said, "Holy cow, you still have picks to do."
and beer grades.
Wow. She said, holy cow.
Holy cow!
You know
So
what we should do?
That was a good pun
Segue.
because,
Segue.
boom.
We're
Go ahead.
We're drinking a milky beer.
Well, I was gonna say we should like split our show sheet in half and then just do the second half the following week. Or if we're breaking down the Lions, we should break down only the defense or only the linebackers or only the defensive ends. We'll talk off air. We don't need to
What?
discuss it right now.
I feel like you guys are being really mean to me.
No, I've got ideas.
No,
I love ideas.
I'm not being mean either. I think when Sam sends out the show sheet, us 3 rotate on who edits that, and then we bring all of those.
Now you're thinking.
and we swap the ones that Sam puts on the table.
Such a good idea.
It works. That's not how any of this works.
Yeah, we could know. It could be how it works.
Hey, if you guys want to be more part of the show sheet, I'm always down for that. I thought last week was great.
Oh,
I
I
didn't
guess
know.
we're being told to have this conversation off air.
Yeah, that would probably save some time.
By
We've-
producer.
What are we
We've-
doing?
Yeah, we've reached that point. Beer grade.
Beer grades.
Get into our
So
beer. What are we drinking, right, Micah?
from Coopersville Brewing. So
Yourself to do
when you
this?
go to their tap room, they got a lot of beers on tap, and I was told that any of the beer names, any of the beer names
We'll
with
do it live! Do it live!
going.
I'll write it and we'll do it live!
how can I
Thing
keep going?
I don't know. It's so loud.
I think you should just keep going.
Okay, any of the beer names with the cow puns have lactose in them.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, it was
That's
kind of cool.
And their logo.
So instead of this
Is-
beer
is
that
It's
a
kind
cow.
of a cow face, I think.
Yeah.
A head.
yeah, so this beer that's called Mootella that we're drinking, obviously, off of Nutella. Right?
Okay.
So Nutella's got, it's like the hazel chocolate peanut butter spread thing,
It's good
Hazelnut.
stuff.
right? So
Not just
Mootella.
Hazel. Hazel's a color. Hazelnut is
It's a breakfast
the flavor.
spread for Europeans.
Yeah, so this beer is
Or American.
they have a
think it's-
beer called the Dark Side of the Moo,
racist towards
not
everybody.
moon, right? So that's their base beer, but then they changed this beer up with hazelnut and chocolate. So it's a 7 point.
Why do you keep stopping in the middle?
It's a 7.6%er. It's a great beer. It's a fun beer. It's a fun dark beer. It doesn't taste heavy. I like
7.6.
7.6%.
That's hard to believe. This is really easy to drink.
It's super easy to drink. It's yet another smooth dark beer. You know,
I like smooth dark.
Big surprise from Beer City, USA. I mean, we have a lot of good stouts and porters, and that's another one to add to the list.
I mean, if you're grading the two beers we are drinking tonight, Coopersville's doing really good stuff.
And I
really
agree
are.
completely.
Two really good beers.
I was going to go with the 8.2 with our hazy, which you can explain after. I'm going to go with the 7.9 with this one.
I'm going to go with an 8.2.
For which one?
Mutella.
What about the other one?
The hazy? I'm going to do an 8.6.
That's a good score.
Yeah, I'm going to go 8.4 for the hazy, and for this one, 8.6. These are good beers.
Ooh, nice.
They crushed it.
Johnny boy.
7.7 for the hazy, 7.5 for the Mutella. I don't know. I'm still just trying to warm up to these dark, heavy, flavorful beers that I wish I would just drink for breakfast instead of
Right.
at 10 o'clock.
I was sitting at my
night.
desk today. I'm just like, I can't wait for summer beers to taste like summer.
Summer beers.
Like, just, that's exactly what
It's hard to have them
be.
in the winter and have it be the same.
Yeah, it is.
Let's try harder to do some more Hefeweizens this summer.
I would not hate to do that. They're hit and miss with me, but they're good. But can you explain the hazy that we actually drank earlier today?
Give me a second.
Didn't we explain it earlier?
It's
Carrie,
their
Her
hands.
cider. Sorry, real quick before
Go
you
for
can pull everything up
From Leelanau.
from Leelanau.
Ooh.
I forget what the name of everything else was. She gave it an 8.4. So thank you for that, Carrie.
It was like something hot pants, wasn't it?
Hot pants or smoking pants or something?
Sauce.
Smoking pants, Sam.
Rub the pants
Sauce.
Double rubbed.
Double rubbed.
outside the rub pants.
Oh man.
Only when Stafford's a topic.
So
Rubbed sauce.
That's outside rub stuff.
from
I
Coopersville
love
Brewing,
Stafford.
that juicy IPA.
I should get that.
Just
as a
say it
drop.
one more time.
I love Stafford.
One more time.
Sorry, go ahead.
Juicy IPA.
One more time.
Juicy IPA. Matthew. Stafford.
I love Stafford.
No, the Juicy IPA, they're hand squeezed. It's a blend of 4 Michigan proprietary hops. They're Mackinac, Cooper, Paradigm, and Bergamot.
I do not envy the guy squeezing those hops. Jeez.
I wonder if they put
But,
them in like a squeezer.
No, they locally source everything. All their help is from Coopersville. Everything's super community based out there. So if you go talk to Jeremy's super cool, super easy to talk to.
What were you telling us earlier about the way that they name their barrels or whatever after like Pistons players or something?
Yeah. So Jeremy's a huge Pistons fan, and the way they put the 2004 Pistons players, the starting players' heads on the barrels, and kind of the way Jeremy explained it to me is that they had this idea beforehand. He wanted to have this, this 5-barrel system, but once they got that big, I think it's a 14-barrel system, and they named him, or they put Rashid's head on it. Or no, sorry,
Big Ben.
that was Big Ben. But then their 5th player, that they really needed, which was Rashid, right?
Yeah.
So they put Rashid on their last barrel system because that was the last
yeah.
missing
I wonder
piece.
if they say
Awesome.
like, "You're gonna love this beer. I guarantee it."
Ooh, the guaranteed.
They need to sell it.
Is that Jeremy? Is that his name?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Good
Jeremy,
talk to
if
him.
you're listening, I guarantee it.
He's full of these, so you guys would
I'm very
if
creative.
you like that, you'll work well together.
But
Dad joke.
Yeah, that juicy IPA was great. All their beer was great. The staff over there is really, really cool, super
Yeah.
helpful. Their food smells amazing. They have food right in the house there.
So we got to get on the calendar to go out there and do an episode.
Absolutely.
Micah, you said Jeremy was interested in that?
Yeah,
So,
100%.
I'm going to email Jeremy tomorrow. Trust me, I will. So, Jeremy, if you're listening, be ready for my email. It's coming.
Yeah, you could tell us this after, but, it's okay.
But why would I do that when I can do it during?
Let's go.
I just want to keep this thing rolling, right?
Why would you hit a bumper right now?
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Appreciate you guys.
What episode
joining
was
us.
it, Ryan?
Episode 154.
141. Thank you guys for recording. Thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you next week, if not sooner.
It's 11 p.m.
You've been listening to State of My Sports. From the Red Wings to the Lions, to the Tigers to the Pistons, to Michigan and Michigan State, and everything in between, we're talking about it. And don't forget the beer. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. In the meantime, hook up with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at State of My Sports with an MI. We'll see you next time.